on the Hawkeyes Sports Network. From Learfield, Iowa Hawkeye Softball is brought to you by Homewood and Home 2 Suites, preferred hotel of the Hawkeye Radio Network. Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. When corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Oak Knoll, an active life care community by University of Iowa Healthcare. Changing medicine, changing lives. Wimmer's Meats, the official hot dog of the Hawkeyes. And by Iowa City Tire and Service, a proud supporter of Hawkeye softball. Iowa City Tire, where service actually comes first. Hawkeye softball is on the air.
Live from Bob Pearl Field at the University of Iowa, it's time for another chapter of Iowa softball. It's the Iowa Hawkeyes against their in-state bitter rival, the Iowa State Cyclones, in the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series. Hi everybody, I'm Lucas Strain, and you're listening to Iowa softball on the Hawkeye Radio Network. The word rival can be defined as a person or thing competing with one another for the same objective or for superiority. And can you think of a better word to describe these two teams today? Two teams who do not like each other, looking for superiority over the other, in what is the only matchup this season between the Hawkeyes and the Cyclones. The visiting Iowa State Cyclones are 18-27 on the season, 2-10 in the Big 12, which is last in the conference. Your Iowa Hawkeyes are 28-20, 8-9 in conference play, and 8th in the Big 10. The series history is all knotted up at 33 apiece, but Iowa State has won the last three, including a 5-4 victory in Ames a year ago to the day. Two teams with very similar styles offensively, teams that don't slug for a high number but would rather get on base and use small ball to move the runner over and manufacture runs as a team. Iowa, in fact, completely turning around their starting lineup, something I'll get into a little bit more later when we formally announce our starting lineups. The biggest conflicting point between the two teams comes in the pitching department. The Hawkeyes' team ERA is a little over 1.5 points lower than the Cyclones, as Iowa 2.28, State 3.81. If we look at how Iowa has fared recently, they got swept by Minnesota their last time out. They were shut out, in fact, in the first two games and only scored one run in the seventh, and it didn't come until the seventh inning in Game 3. So in 23 innings in their three-game series last week against Minnesota, the Iowa Hawkeyes were only able to score one run. And this in fact, carried over from the previous week in their three-game set against Maryland. In those three games, they scored 4 runs combined. In fact, they've only scored 12 runs over their last 8 Big Ten games. And this is coming from a team that averaged over 5 a game through the first 9. So a run and a half per game over the last 8, while scoring 5 over the first 9. And they only had 18 hits last weekend, which dropped them from first in the Big Ten down to 4th. So a team that was number 1 in hitting coming into the weekend has dropped all the way down to 4, which, I mean, 4 is not bad. But after only 18 hits over a 3-game set is not ideal. However, there is some good stuff you have to focus on as well. It's not all bad for the Hawkeyes right now. Nia Carter went 5 for 11 over the weekend, including going 5 for 7 against Autumn Pease, who is one of the top 2 pitchers in the Big Ten, maybe number 1. Tatiana Roman also played well in the most recent game for the Hawkeyes. She went 3 for 4 in Game 3. And Jalen Adams was very, very good in the circle for the Hawkeyes. On Saturday and Sunday, she got 2 starts. And combined in those 2 games, she went 12 innings, giving up 2 earned runs on 10 hits. So girls were getting on base against her, but she wasn't allowing people to score, at least not on her official earned run watch. And that dominant weekend brings her season ERA down to 2.12, which is 10th best in the Big Ten. Now, if we take a look over to the Cyclones in our scouting report of Iowa State, they're 18-27 on the year, 2-10 in the Big 12, which is, of course, last in the conference. Only 7 teams in the Big 12 conference, so kind of smaller, but still dominant in their way. Well, Iowa State's won 5 of their last 7, but that's with a pair of wins over Southeast Missouri State, and those 2 wins over Southeast Missouri State, the combined score was 16-0. And after those 2 games, they split a 4-game series, 2-2 with Colorado State. Jamie Pinkerton is in his 6th season at the helm of Iowa State Cyclones, a 151-148 record over his 5+ seasons, and just earned career win number 500 last weekend over Colorado State. If we look at their offensive statistics as a team, they're in last place in the Big 12 in nearly every category. A .237 team batting average, 169 runs, 145 RBIs, and have the 2nd most strikeouts in the conference. 3 players, in fact, individually are in the top 10. As our PA announcer is starting to announce starting lineups as well. In the blackout amongst the crowd. Malaysia Ochoa is their main offensive weapon, leads the team in average hits, home runs, and RBIs. The team ERA, as I mentioned at the top, is 3.81, which is the 2nd worst in the Big 12. It's led by Carly Charles, a 2.86 ERA on the season. She's not getting the start, but again, we'll get into that later. Now, Saya Swain is also good for Iowa State, as the 5th most strikeouts in the Big 12 in the circle this year, and has the 4th lowest batting average against for the Cyclones. And now it may sound like I've been dogging Iowa State throughout my pregame, but they play in a very tough Big 12 conference. Oklahoma is 42-1 this year, number 1 in the coaches and ESPN polls. Oklahoma State is a top 10 team and has reached number 3 earlier this year. Baylor is consistently in the top 20, so it's a very tough Big 12 conference. However, the Big 10 has had teams in the top 25 all year as well. Northwestern is currently number 22, a team Iowa has beat in walk-off fashion earlier this season. But different conferences or not, it's what comes down to this is it's a rivalry game. 2 schools that do not like each other, and we're going to see that today. Iowa and Iowa State and our Iowa Corn Cyhawk series starting lineups are coming up next.
After a cancer diagnosis, it's natural to want to start treatment right away. But first, get a second opinion from a team that specializes in your cancer. I'm Dr. George Weiner, Director of University of Iowa Holden Comprehensive Cancer Center. Before you start treatment, you deserve to be confident you have the right diagnosis and know every option available to you. So whether it's with us or somewhere else, get a second opinion. It can change your care and your life.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number 1.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the number 1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye softball.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/IowansWin.
At Oak Knoll, our mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, Executive Director. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served Iowa City for more than 55 years. Our team helps residents create home by living our values of caring, respect, enthusiasm, awareness, teamwork, and encouragement. If you're looking at retirement options, visit our website at oakknoll.com. We want you to lead life your way. Go Hawks!
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number one.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye Softball.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/IowansWin.
As we await the playing of our national anthem, it's time for your starting lineups for the Iowa Hawkeyes and visiting Iowa State Cyclones. As always, we start with the visiting team. Cyclones are wearing red with white pants, pinstripes on the pants. And for their starting lineup, put out by Coach Pinkerton, Malaysia Ochoa will be leading off and playing center field. Batting second, Michaela Ramos, the DP. Batting third and left is Angelina Allen. Tiana Poole will be playing right field and batting cleanup. Batting fifth and playing first is Carly Spellhog. Batting sixth at second is Casey Simpson. Sarah Tyree will be batting seventh and playing third. The shortstop, Alicia Ranchez, will bat eighth, and rounding out the lineup for Iowa State will be the catcher, number 9, Natalie Wellett. And in the circle and pitching for the Cyclones will be number 22, Tatum Johnson. Now, as for your Hawkeye starting lineup, as I said at the top, we've seen it's quite the shakeup in the lineup for the Hawkeyes. As I said, only scored 1 run in a combined 23 innings last weekend. So how does Coach Gillespie shake things up? Well, she just completely turns the lineup upside down. Leading off, a brand new leadoff hitter this season for the Hawkeyes, number 22, Briley Klosterman. A spot that's been dominated by Nia Carter, who of course leads the Big Ten in batting average. But Coach Gillespie has elected that she wants to move Carter down in the lineup so she has the ability to drive people in so people can get on base when she's at the plate. So Klosterman will lead off and play left field. Batting second, as always, is number 9, Tatiana Roman, and playing center. Now batting third is where Nia Carter's going to hit. She'll be playing right field in her normal spot. So the idea now, Carter's going to hit. She's going to get her hits. She's going to get on base. Now this time she's just going to have the ability to drive people in. So all 3 starting outfielders are the first 3 batters for the Hawkeyes. Batting cleanup is the catcher, number 2, Tristan Doster, who's moved her way up in the lineup. Batting fifth and playing first, Sammy Diaz, a pretty traditional spot for her. And moving down into the 6th hole is freshman shortstop Tori Bennett. We'll get into Bennett's recent struggles as of late, but she's pretty much been hitting third all season for the Hawkeyes. Finds herself in the 6th hole today. Batting 7th is the DP, Denali Lecker. Still looking for her first home run of Big Ten play. Batting 8th, who is the normal cleanup hitter, or at least as of late, is third baseman Grace Baines. Moves down from the cleanup spot to the 8th hole. Try and just get her some of her mojo back. And rounding out the lineup is Anna Streff, the second baseman. Coach Gillespie elects to go with Streff over the likes of Avery Jackson. And pitching today for Iowa is number 3, Brianna Vasquez. And those are your starting lineups. We'll dive into each player a little bit more as time goes on. But now it's time for our national anthem, so we'll take you to a quick commercial break. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Radio Network.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number one.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye Softball.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/Iowans win. We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/Iowans win.
Beautiful rendition of the Stars and Stripes as we're just about ready to get first pitch underway between the Iowa Hawkeyes and Iowa State Cyclones. Hi, everybody. I'm Lucas Strayed, and we thank you for listening to this edition of Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Radio Network. Doesn't matter what sport it is, what time of the year it is, how warm or how cold it is inside, what kind of platform we're playing on, doesn't matter. The Iowa Hawkeyes and the Iowa State Cyclones are always going to hate each other, and we're going to compete against one another today. Brianna Vasquez is the starting pitcher for the Hawkeyes in the circle. Vasquez enjoying what has been a very productive season as the ace for the Hawkeyes. A 16-5 record over the year, a 1.96 ERA over 132 and a third innings pitched. This is her 23rd start of the year. Opponents are hitting below 200 against her. 129 strikeouts to 49 walks. She has the 7th best ERA in the Big Ten, 4th lowest batting average against her, and the 6th most strikeouts. In the last series over the weekend against Minnesota, she had two appearances, one of them to start on Friday. In those 2 appearances combined, she went 7 1/3 innings, allowing 5 runs on 8 hits with 5 strikeouts and 3 walks. But a week ago to the day, she took a perfect game into the 5th inning against Western Illinois, finishing with 9 Ks. First batter she's going to face is Malaysia Ochoa for the Cyclones, the center fielder. Ochoa having a very good season at the plate for the Cyclones. A .319 batting average is the large reason why she's hitting in the leadoff spot. She's the only player on the team who gets significant playing time, hitting over 300 on the season. So the perfect candidate to lead things off as we're just about set for first pitch. Iowa Hawkeyes in their all-black uniforms. When the Hawkeyes wear black this season, they are 4-3. Iowa State, their Cardinal jerseys with yellow numbers and lettering. First pitch is fouled off the hands just to my left, and we are underway. Count is 0-1 from Brianna Vasquez to Malaysia Ochoa. Iowa looking to stop the bleeding, has lost 3 straight. A series sweep against Minnesota over the weekend. Ball 1 is missed upstairs, so the count evens at 1 apiece. Outfield playing fairly shallow. Not much power to speak of as Ochoa gets hit by the pitch. And the first runner is on for Iowa State, not the start for Brianna Vasquez was looking for. It'll bring up Michaela Ramos, the designated player today for the Cyclones. Ramos, .294 hitter on the season, a .354 OBP, slugging .437. She swings at the first pitch, fouls it off the netting, 0-1. Iowa State is coming off of a 6-2 win against Colorado State in what was a 4-game series against the Rams. Iowa State split at 2-2. The 0-1 is fouled off again, so the count is quickly 0-2 to Ramos. Iowa State batters are coming up swinging rather quickly. We saw both players have swung at the first pitch. Vasquez is doing her best to pump it in the zone. So the count's quickly 0-2. We'll see if Vasquez likes to go to the heat up and in the ice, something we've seen from her all year. Ramos' two-strike approach is to show bunt, pulls back, as many players do in softball, and misses outside, 1-2. In their last game, Michaela Ramos wasn't a starter, so gets the start today and is inserted into the 2 spot. Checks her swing on the outside fastball, doesn't go. Count evens at 2-2. Last couple of games we've seen at Pearl Field has had pretty windy conditions, and that's kind of an understatement. Most of the time north of 20 miles an hour, pointing out towards one of the foul poles today. Essentially no breeze to speak of. The off-speed misses outside, and the count's full. As our first base umpire heads into the circle, talk to Vasquez. Now makes his way back out behind the bag. Full count, nobody out. Ochoa stands on first after the leadoff hit by pitch. Vasquez takes the sign into the motion, and the pitch is fouled off. We'll do it all over again. High pitch count thus far for Vasquez before even recording an out. Getting ready to throw her 10th pitch of the game. Stands are pretty full at Pearl Field in what is a blackout in this Iowa Corn Cyhawk Series. The full count pitch from Vasquez is called strike 3. Runner goes down the second. The throw is late. Doster was holding it behind the plate for the frame job. Didn't see Ochoa trying to swipe second, but it goes down as a looking strikeout. But Iowa State has a runner on second with 1 out. And Angelina Allen at the plate, left-handed stick. This season, Allen's hitting just a touch over 200, 207. Screwball's called strike 1 on the outer half. So the count's 0-1. Again, the Iowa outfield's playing pretty regular depth. Is called strike 2 on the off-speed, catches the outside corner. No balls and 2 strikes. Iowa defensively is rocking the same lineup they typically do. In the outfield from left to right is Klosterman, Roman, and Carter as the 0-2 pitch is thrown and fouled down the left field line. Goes foul. Across the Iowa infield from third base over to first is Grace Baines, Tori Bennett, Anna Streff, and Sammy Diaz. Again, the normal point that we have to look for pregame is who is Coach Gillespie rocking with in the infield between Anna Streff and Avery Jackson, the two essentially competing for the final infield spot. Anna Streff gets the start today. The 0-2 misses outside. Just barely. Count goes 1-2. I think Doster behind the plate was set up quite a bit outside. So some of the fans in the crowd wanted the strike 3 call. But it was definitely a little bit off the plate. The 1-2 misses in a very similar spot. And the count is 2-2. A blackout today in Iowa City, as Iowa State's won 3 straight against the Hawkeyes, including a victory a year ago to the day by a final score of 5-4. The 2-2 is fouled off the netting. Runner stands on second in Ochoa after the leadoff hit by pitch. And then a backwards K of Ramos got the Hawkeyes their first out of the game. The 2-2 is lined into left field. Klosterman ranges back, makes the two-handed catch for out number 2. Ochoa retreats back to second. And there are 2 away. Going to bring up Tiana Poole for Iowa State. Poole 250 on the year. a 353 OBP, and a slugging 350. Pretty good batter to have up there when you have runners on. He's hitting 333 with runners in scoring position this season. Stands in the right-handed batter's box. Swings and fouls off the first pitch. 0-1. So 4 of the Iowa State batters that have come to the plate today, 3 of them have swung first pitch. All been foul balls, however. The 0-1 misses upstairs, 1-1. Tiana Poole, the freshman for Iowa State, hitting in the cleanup spot today. Bit of a utility player, can play anywhere. He is out in right field. Vasquez into the motion and the 1-1. He is swung on and missed, strike 2. So Vasquez, who already has 1 strikeout in the inning, in what was her 130th of the season, a nice round number. He's looking for number 2 to get out of the first. And swing and a miss, a ball up in the eyes of Poole. And Vasquez gets her second strikeout and was able to work around the leadoff hit by pitch. So after half an inning, Iowa State scoreless. Iowa is coming up to bat. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Radio Network.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number 1.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye Softball.
Tatum Johnson will be the Iowa State pitcher in what is our Wednesday afternoon game between the Iowa Hawkeyes and Iowa State Cyclones. Johnson is enjoying a 3.50 ERA this season for Iowa State. Has not pitched in that many games. This is only her 11th appearance on the season. Hasn't thrown enough innings to qualify as one of the top 4 pitchers for Iowa State this year. So in her 10 appearances is a 3.50 ERA, a 2-3 record over just 20 innings pitched. So she's appeared in 10 games thus far, but has only thrown 20 innings. 5 strikeouts to 19 walks, and she's going to be dealing with the new Hawkeye leadoff batter and Briley Klosterman. This is a spot typically dominated by Nia Carter, but Coach Gillespie is shaking up the lineup, and Klosterman is going to lead things off for the Hawkeyes in the top of the first, hitting .274 this year, 369 OBP. He's a really streaky player, gets in her hot and her cold stretches. Last series, she went 2 for 9, drove in the only Iowa run of the series on a 2-out single into center field, watches ball 1. It was a 2-out line drive in the top of the 7th inning off the bat of Klosterman that scored Grace Baines from second and gave the Hawkeyes a 1-0 lead in the top of the 7th inning. Minnesota eventually tied things up in the bottom half and won in the bottom of the 9th. Klosterman watches strike 1, counts 1-1. Corners are playing in on Klosterman. Outfield fairly deep. Klosterman has the home run power. The 1-1 skims across the dirt, 2-1. Klosterman has 3 home runs this season for the Hawkeyes. That's the second most on the team, trailing only Denali Lecker, who got off to a scorching start of the season. Here's a ground ball to shortstop. Ranchez makes the strong throw across the diamond. And Klosterman is retired. So we'll bring up Tatiana Roman. Roman, who swung it well in the Hawkeyes' Game 3 against Minnesota on Sunday. She went 3 for 4 in that game. Finished the series going 4 for 10. Also had a stolen base on Sunday. Her 4th steal of the year. Iowa's not a team that really steals a whole lot. The 3rd least stolen bases in the Big Ten this year. Ball 1 to Roman. Roman, 309. On the year, 367 OBP. Is slugging 355. Watches ball 2, misses well, so the count's quickly 2-0. A majority of the infield is in. Corners are way in. Pretty significantly off their bag. Middle infielders are also playing pretty much even with the bases as Roman takes the slap approach, and most of her hits are just slappers through the infield. The 2-0 is called strike 1 to the Iowa center fielder. The Iowa State outfield is also playing pretty shallow everywhere except for maybe right is normal depth. The 2-1 misses low. Counts 3-1. Roman has 10 walks on the year. And at this point, Coach Gillespie would take a walk, anything to get runners on. So the count's 3-1 to Roman. And she watches strike 2 to make the count go full. Roman, who had the chance to try and keep the Hawkeyes alive in Game 3 in that 9-inning affair. As she watches ball 4, Roman has a 1-out walk, saying she had a chance to keep the Hawkeyes alive. Minnesota won on a sacrifice fly towards left center field. And Roman draws the 1-out walk, and Nia Carter batting in the 3-hole for the first time in Big Ten play. First time in a long time. You have to imagine. Carter has been enjoying a very good year, a .470 batting average, which of course leads the Big Ten. And the first pitch is skied high, it hits off the padding, and Roman's able to advance on the wild pitch. We talked about how Tatum Johnson sometimes loses control. That's her 20th walk of the year in 20 1/3 innings, and now skies one off the padding as we're going to have a meeting in the circle. So Roman advances to second base on the wild pitch, and the count's 1-0 to Nia Carter. So Carter is leading the Big Ten in batting average and hits this year. Her .470 batting average has her in 7th place in the nation. She has the 2nd most hits in the nation as well. A .513 OBP is 4th in the Big Ten and is one of 7 players this year with 7 strikeouts or less. She essentially dominates the Iowa team in nearly every statistical category. Batting average, OBP, slugging percentage, runs scored, stolen bases. She's 2nd in RBIs. It's pretty much a big reason why Coach Gillespie moved her down into the 3-hole. Wants to give her a chance to hit with runners on, like Roman's on second now. Ball 2 misses low, so the count's 2-0. Tristan Doster waits on deck. And as we said, Carter had a very good series last weekend against Minnesota. She started the first 2 games going 5 for 7, all 7 against Autumn Pease, who might be the best pitcher in the Big Ten. The 2-0 misses outside, so it's 3-0 to Nia Carter. First base stands open. Roman stands on second with 1 out here in the bottom of the first. Johnson's 3-0 is called strike 1 right down the heart of the plate, 3-1. Carter still looking for her first home run of the season. And after what was a cold start to Big Ten play, she's red hot right now. The 3-1 misses low and away. So back-to-back walks out of the hand of Tatum Johnson, and the Hawkeyes have runners on first and second with 1 out. Tristan Doster, the Iowa catcher, will bat now. Doster hitting .309, a .359 OBP, and is slugging .426. has caught, including today's game, 22 straight games for the Hawkeyes. She's ahead in the count, 1-0. So Tatum Johnson's thrown 16 pitches so far in this game. Only 5 of them have been in the strike zone. Into the motion, and the 1-0 is called strike. On the outer half of the plate, 1-1. Doster over the weekend went 0 for 7, but drew 2 walks. The entire Iowa team only drew 3 walks the entire weekend, as this one's fouled off 1-2. So while the team wasn't hitting well, they also weren't drawing many walks. 3 over a 3-game set, and Doster had 2 of them. And, of course, Iowa's already drawn 2 walks here just in the bottom of the first inning. The count's 1-2. And here's a fly ball down the right field line. Poole's going over, but it slices foul. And the count is still 0-2. Johnson into the motion and the pitch. Misses low and in the dirt. Roman's headed towards third, and the throw is dropped by Tyree. Ranchez is there for backup, but it's a double stolen base for the Hawkeyes. And they now have runners on second and third with 1 out. Counts 2-2. And won't go down as a wild pitch or a pass ball because Willett took the throwing opportunity, gave herself the chance. The 2-2 misses inside. And the count's full. First base stands open. Doster this year is hitting .353 when there's runners in scoring position. She's got a pair of ducks on the pond right now. The full count pitch is fouled off the netting. We'll do it all over again. Tatum Johnson getting ready to throw her 23rd pitch of the inning. Her pitch count thus far matches the jersey number on her back. Infield's in for Iowa State, looking to cut off Roman at home if they have the chance. The pitch misses low and in the dirt. Doster draws the walk, and Tatum Johnson has now walked the bases loaded. It'll bring up Sammy Diaz for the Hawkeyes. Diaz, 273, 370. OBP is 21 RBIs. Has a golden opportunity to add a couple more right now. Diaz this year, when the bases are loaded, she's hitting .500. As we see, Tatum Johnson is walking towards the Iowa State dugout and hands the ball off. So we're going to have a pitching change here already in the bottom of the first inning. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to tell you about our new Iowa State pitcher. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeyes Sports Network.
After a cancer diagnosis, it's natural to want to start treatment right away. But first, get a second opinion from a team that specializes in your cancer. I'm Dr. George Weiner, Director of University of Iowa Holden Comprehensive Cancer Center. Before you start treatment, you deserve to be confident you have the right diagnosis and know every option available to you. So whether it's with us or somewhere else, get a second opinion. It can change your care and your life.
Tatum Johnson is done, or at least for now. Her final stat line, she only gets 1 out. Facing 4 batters, she walks the bases loaded, and therefore responsible for all 3. Our new pitcher for Iowa State is number 45, Jaden Ralstone. Ralstone, a 4.20 ERA in what is her 28th appearance on the year. Has a 4-7 record over 58 1/3 innings pitched. And she's in a tough spot now as the bases are loaded with 1 out and Sammy Diaz at the plate for the Hawkeyes. Corners are in. Infield's back playing the double play. Strike one called. The 0-1. Misses upstairs. 1-1. Iowa, after going 23 innings last weekend, scoring just one run. Perfect opportunity to get on the board early here in the bottom of the first. The 1-1 curveball misses outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. Diaz, 2 home runs on the season for the Hawkeyes. Home run now. And Iowa would hang a 4 spot in the first. And here's a line drive back up the middle. Hits off the glove of Ralston. She throws to first and she throws it away. 2 runs are going to score for the Hawkeyes. Doster stops at third. Iowa quickly has a 2-0 lead here in the bottom of the first. A line drive shot off the bat of Diaz, knocked down in the circle by Ralston. The ball squirted off towards her left side. She chased it down and tried to flip it over to Spellhog at first to at least salvage one out, but she throws it away. So now Iowa leads it 2-0 in the first. Statistically, that'll most likely go down as a hit for Sammy Diaz. She'll get 1 RBI. And then Carter, who came around and scored from second, will score on the air. So Tori Bennett is the new Iowa batter. Bennett, who typically hits in the 3 spot for Iowa. Moved down to the 6 hole and finds herself in a big opportunity now. Watches ball 1 miss outside. When Iowa scores in the first inning this year, they are 11-0. Are yet to lose when they score in the first inning. And here's a fly ball into left field. Allen comes on, makes the catch. Doster's going to run home. And she's actually going to come back. Retreats after a good throw from Allen out and left. So Tori Bennett does not get the sacrifice fly, as Coach Gillespie elected not to run for Doster here. A move that's not typically made by her. She loves getting her slower batters out of her slower runners off of the bases early in the game, likes using Down and Moss. Denali Lecker will bat for the Hawkeyes. Ball 1 upstairs. Counts 1-0 to Lecker. Lecker's hitting .247 this year. Swings and fouls one off that was up around her chest. Counts 1-1. When Iowa scores first this season, they're 22-4. So the Hawkeyes have put themselves in familiar territory in what's been very kind to them. The 1-1 misses low. Counts 2-1. Lecker, runners on second and third. A chance for 2 RBIs. Only has 2 RBIs in the last month. Can double it now. Ahead 2-1. And a miss is outside. 3 balls and 1 strike to the Iowa designated player. Lecker's ahead 3-1. And the pitch misses low, so it's a 2-out walk for Lecker, and the bases are loaded again. Now the Iowa traditional cleanup hitter, but is batting 8th today, and third baseman Grace Baines for the Hawkeyes. Baines hitting .265, 329 OBP, and when the bases are loaded is hitting .400 this season. Bases juice, 2 away. Called strike 1 to Baines, out of the hand to Ralston. Doster's on third after she walked. Diaz stands on second after the RBI single, and another round eventually came around and scored. And Lecker stands on first after the walk. Baines fouls one off over the netting and is now behind 0-2. Iowa already leading 2-0. Has a chance to add 2 more. The 0-2 misses upstairs. Ralston tried to get Baines to chase, but threw this one just a little too high. Again, Iowa scoring here in the first inning. When they score in the first this year, they're an undefeated 11-0. And it looks like our pitcher, Jaden Ralston, is bleeding. Or at least maybe there's a cut on her pitching hand, so we're going to have the Iowa State athletic trainer make the walk out into the circle. Head coach Jamie Pinkerton's out there as well. In what's been a very long first inning, you could say. We're 30 minutes in, and we're not even out of the bottom of the first yet. Coach Gillespie elects to change the lineup completely after scoring 23 runs. One run over 23 innings last weekend. Changes the lineup and immediately sees results. Briley Klosterman led off with a ground out, but then 3 straight walks to Roman, Carter, and Doster loads the bases. We see a pitching change. And then Sammy Diaz singled on a line drive back up the middle. Hits off the glove of the pitcher Jaden Ralston. 1 run scored, but as Ralston ran over to try and corral it, spins and throws to first, but throws it away into the dirt and back towards the wall. Another Iowa run eventually came around and scored, and that's how Iowa got their first 2 runs of the game. And we're back in action. The 1-2 pitch misses up high to Baines, so deuces are wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bases are still juiced. Grace Baines, 22 RBIs on the year. The 2-2 is a pop fly on the infield in foul territory. And the catcher behind the plate, and Wellett, makes the play. So the Hawkeyes strand the bases loaded, but not before scoring 2. After 1 inning complete, Iowa leads it 2-0 over the Cyclones. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Radio Network.
At Oak Knoll, our mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, Executive Director. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served Iowa City for more than 55 years. Our team helps residents create home by living our values of caring, respect, enthusiasm, awareness, teamwork, and encouragement. If you're looking at retirement options, visit our website at oaknoll.com. We want you to lead life your way. Go Hawks!
Carly Spellhog is going to be the first Cyclone to come bat now in the second inning after what was a 32-minute first. Softball games typically last around 2 hours, give or take a couple of minutes. And you're not on pace to just play 2 hours if you're getting a 32-minute first frame. And what was only 2 runs scored, Iowa State scoreless. Iowa scored a pair. Carly Spellhog, the Iowa State 5-hole hitter, 246 this year, 379 OBP. She'll come in and step in the right-hander's batter's box. It is the first baseman. Six home runs on the year for Spellhog. It's the second most on the team, trailing only Malaysia Ochoa, their leadoff batter. There's a couple of Spellhogs on this Iowa State team. Carly is the one who bats. Ellie Spellhog is one of their pitchers, has the second most innings this year. First pitch out of Brianna Vasquez, misses up and out, ball one. Called strike one on the outer half, 1-1. In Spellhog's last game, Iowa State's last game against Colorado State, that is, Spellhog hitting the 2 spot and went 1 for 3, scoring twice. Also drove in a pair, so what was a productive day for the senior first baseman. Slides back into the 5-hole spot today, watches 1-1, miss outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. Vasquez didn't allow anyone to score in the first inning, got around a leadoff hit by pitch, utilizing a pair of strikeouts, one looking, one swinging. Her 2-1 pitch misses low and inside, and the count's 3-1, so Vasquez struggling with command a little bit early. Just threw her 25th pitch, and only 14 of them have been strikes, so a little bit over half. But again, nobody's yet to score on her, so she's doing something right. The 3-1, and it runs in and hits Carly Spellhog. Or is he calling it a foul ball? Or home plate umpire initially calls it a foul ball. It looks like, but now we're going to have a meeting between the umpires. Spellhog is run down to first. And we will await the final decision out of the boys in navy blue today. And it goes down as a hit by pitch for Carly Spellhog. So 2 innings and 2 leadoff hit by pitches thrown by Brianna Vasquez. An Iowa pitching staff that is about middle of the pack when it comes to hit by pitches. It's their 31st of the year, and coming into the week, they were tied for 7th in the Big Ten. So quite literally, the middle of the pack. Casey Simpson will be the new Iowa State batter. She's playing second base today, wearing number 8. Gets into the right-handed batter's box. Simpson hitting .222 on the year, a 300 OBP. And watches first pitch, called strike. 0-1. Vasquez looking to have a better day than she had on last Friday, as this one's fouled over the netting. 0-2. Nice catch by the fan just in front of the press box. Gets a couple of cheers from the crowd. Her final stat line, Vasquez's that is going to look a little more skewed than it actually was. Over the first 5 innings, she gave up only 2 runs, started the 6th in 3 hard-hit balls, including a 2-run home run, chased her out of the game. So she finished going 5 innings, giving up 5 runs, as this one's fouled off again. Count remains 0-2. So, again, Vasquez's final stat line, a little bit different than how she actually pitched in the game. Things just kind of went out of control in the 6th. The count's still 0-2. Vasquez looking for her 3rd strikeout of the game. Doesn't get it there, and Simpson doesn't chase. That's something we know Vasquez loves doing when she gets to the 2-strike approach. And really, every pitcher on this Hawkeye rotation loves going high with the hard stuff when they get to a 2-strike count. The count's 1-2, and here's an off-speed fly ball into center. Roman battling the sun, but makes the catch on the back of the Tiger Hawk for out number 1. Sarah Tyree is the new Iowa State batter. 3rd baseman wearing number 14. 266 batter, 338 OBP. Tyree in their last game against Colorado State went 2 for 3 and drove in a pair. Watches ball 1 miss high, 1-0. She also scored a run in that Colorado State game, a game in which Iowa State won 6-2. The 1-0 is fouled off. Vasquez, another high pitch count inning thus far. Would love some of these Iowa State foul balls to just find fair territory because they're not hit too hard. Of course, they're not weakly hit either, but it's plays that it looks like the Iowa defense can make. Here's a pop fly on the infield as the runner took off. Diaz makes the catch and is easily able to step on first base to double up Carly Spellhog. Iowa State goes with the hit and run, but it doesn't pay off as Tyree pops into the 3 unassisted double play. So after 1.5, Hawkeyes lead at 1-0. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeyes Sports Network.
At Oak Knoll, our mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, Executive Director. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served Iowa City for more than 55 years. Our team helps residents create home by living our values of caring, respect, enthusiasm, awareness, teamwork, and encouragement. If you're looking at retirement options, visit our website at oakknoll.com. We want you to lead life your way. Go Hawks!
Jaden Ralstone back into the circle for Iowa State, and she's going to face Anna Streff to lead off the bottom of the second. As this is the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series. It's only right to tell you about our friends at Iowa Corn. When corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Take a closer look and you'll discover the many connections you have to corn. And those connections translate into wins for farmers and wins for all Iowans. Share your winning moments using hashtag IowansWin. Iowa Corn, a year-long partner with Iowa Softball, getting their spotlight today in what is the only rendition of the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series in softball this season. This is the 18th year of the Cy-Hawk Series, 11th year that it is sponsored by our partners of Iowa Corn. Anna Streff is going to lead off the bottom of the second inning for the Hawkeyes. Streff playing second base today, and she is still competing for that final starting infield spot for the Hawkeyes. Her and Avery Jackson kind of duking it out. She's behind 0-1 after swinging and missing first pitch. Comes up empty on number 2 as well. Counts quickly 0-2 to Streff. Last weekend, Streff started on Friday. She also started the Saturday game before eventually getting pinch hit for by Jackson. And Jackson started in the Sunday game. Streff swings and misses, so good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Out of the hand of Jaden Ralstone. Back to the top of the Hawkeye order, and again, the new leadoff batter for the Hawkeyes, number 22, Briley Klosterman. Klosterman's 0 for 1, grounded out to shortstop to lead off the first. Klosterman is a girl that Coach Gillespie loves moving around in the lineup. Strike one called, 0-1. Klosterman will sometimes find herself hitting 8th. Sometimes she'll hit 7th. She oftentimes hits 5th. Today she finds herself in the leadoff spot. Coach Gillespie just loves moving Klosterman around. Watches ball 1 miss up high, 1-1. Klosterman, the Iowa left fielder, had quite the play in left field on Sunday. Had a diving play down the left field line to rob the Minnesota batter of a hit. A play in which she fell to her knees after making the catch. Foul ball on the check swing, 1-2. Jaden Ralstone, the Iowa State pitcher, who came in the bottom of the first inning with the bases loaded and 1 out. Allowed 2 runs to score, one of them off of an error that she made while throwing to first base. The 1-2 is a fly ball down the left field line. Goes over the fence and foul. And what is a beautiful day in Iowa City at Pearl Field on this Wednesday afternoon game between the Iowa Hawkeyes and Iowa State Cyclones. 57 degrees and sunny in Iowa City, and barely any wind to speak of. And called strike 3 to Klosterman, a off-speed that catches the outside corner. So 2 batters and 2 strikeouts for Jaden Ralstone here in the second. Tatiana Roman now the Iowa batter. She walked in the first and later came around and scored the first run of the game for the Hawkeyes. She went 3 for 4 on Sunday against Minnesota, finished the series going 4 for 10. The transfer from Alabama A&M. Strike 1 called. Roman has started now all 49 games this season for Iowa out in center field. First couple games of the year was hitting down in the 7 and 8 hole. But it didn't take long after those first 2, maybe 3 games. Coach Gillespie said, "I've seen enough," and moved Roman up to the 2 hole. But she hasn't left since. Behind 0-2. No balls and 2 strikes. 2 away here in the bottom of the second. Hawkeyes lead it 2-0. And Roman's able to spoil one. A little bit high. Stays alive. First 500 fans that entered the stadium today got an authentic Iowa fanny pack. All black ones, of course, this is a blackout game at Pearl Field. And called strike 3 to Roman, and Jaden Ralstone strikes out the side. 9-1-2 of the Hawkeye order. So after 2 complete, the Hawkeyes still lead at 2-0. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Radio Network.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number 1.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye softball.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/Iowans win.
To the top of the third we go. Brianna Vasquez out for her 3rd inning of work for the Hawkeyes. 2 innings under her belt, no runs scored against her as she utilized a double play last inning, single-handedly done by Sammy Diaz. Iowa State went with the hit and run, and it failed as a pop fly stayed on the infield, and Sammy Diaz was easily able to double up in turn 2. Alicia Ranchez, the Iowa State shortstop, is going to lead things off here in the top of the 3rd. So Vasquez takes the sign, goes into the motion and the pitch. Here's a hard ground ball through the left side. Baines didn't have a play on it over at 3rd. Leadoff single for Ranchez in 3rd straight inning in which the Iowa State leadoff batter has reached base safely. A pair of hit-by pitches and now a single into left. Natalie Wellett, the Cyclone catcher, will stand in the right-handed batter's box now. Something I've noticed from the Iowa State team, as Vasquez's first pitch is bunted foul, or maybe just missed from Wellett. Nonetheless, the count's 0-1. What I noticed is a lot of these players, they don't wear the traditional face mask across their helmet that you see most softball players use. They're all using that kind of side gig off just the earpiece of the helmet to cover their mouth. As the 0-1 misses. Counts 1-1. Ranchez stands on first after her leadoff walk. Well, it shows bunt again, and this one goes foul, so it's 1-2. A couple of failed bunting attempts from Natalie Willett. One ball and two strikes, nobody away here in the top of the third. Excuse me. Iowa leads it 2-0. Willett checks her swing and a ball in the eyes. Check down with the umpire. No swing is the official call. The count's 2-2. I always find it kind of funny, or kind of really just confusing as to why we ask the base umpire, who stands how many feet away, to determine if the batter swung or not. The 2-2 misses way up and out, and the count's full. No, I'm not saying that Willett went around on the 1-2 pitch that was up and in her eyes. I'm not saying she went around, because she definitely didn't. I agree with what the call is. I'm just kind of pointing out the surprising fact that we still use our base umpires to determine if a batter swung or not. That's not their primary area of coverage. Their PCA is what you like to call it. But I guess, I know our home plate umpire can't always tell if a batter actually swung. But I don't know how you're supposed to expect a base umpire to be the one to make the final decision. So the counts fall after a quick meeting in the circle with Doster and Vasquez. Full count pitch, nobody out. And it's fouled off the padding. The sun is now starting to set here in Iowa City. It's behind the press box, so in the eyes of the Iowa outfielders, you see Nia Carter out in right and Tatiana Roman in center, shielding their eyes from the sun. Here's a foul ball that hits off the bleachers of one of the practice fields just off to the side. Might have heard the loud clang in the background. Count still full. This will be the 7th pitch of the AB. And it misses inside for ball 4. A leadoff single followed by a walk. And back to the top of the order for Iowa State, and it's Malaysia Ochoa. Runners on first and second, nobody away. You have to imagine, is this a bunting? Is this a bunting situation for Iowa State? The problem is, this is Ochoa at the plate, who is undoubtedly their best hitter. He's hitting .320 this year, the only player on the team hitting over 300. She also leads the team in RBIs. Has a runner in scoring position now. Mandy Gardner is out in the circle, having a meeting with Vasquez. That's why I'm kind of rambling on for just a little bit. Nobody out in the top of the third. The Iowa Pet Band is here as well for the Hawkeyes. Try and give themselves just a little bit more of home field advantage. What has definitely been the highest attended game this year for Iowa. See, a couple of the Iowa basketball team for the women's team has now made their way into the stadium. You see I see Kate Martin is making her way around, as is Gabby Marshall, a couple other players, as we're still waiting to return to play. Vasquez goes into the motion, and her off speed just catches the outside part of the zone. 0-1. That was a really nice changeup out of the hand of Brianna Vasquez, but was probably her best pitch of the day. The count's 0-1. Vasquez into the motion, and here's a line drive into left field. Klosterman's going back. It's at the wall, and it's over the fence. A 3-run home run for Malaysia Ochoa gives Iowa State a 3-2 lead in the top of the third. Ochoa's team-leading 10th home run this season for the Cyclones, and the long ball continues to be the Achilles heel for Brianna Vasquez this year. Her 13th home run given up. Gave up 2 of them on Friday against Minnesota, and now gives up a 3-run shot to Malaysia Ochoa, and Iowa State takes the lead in the top of the third. Michaela Ramos watches ball 1 inside. After a leadoff single into left, followed by an 8-pitch walk, a 3-run home run for Iowa State, and they lead it 3-2. This one's fouled off the hands, and the count's even at 1-1 to Michaela Ramos. Ramos 0 for 1, struck out looking in the first. Breeze has started to pick up a little bit more out in the stands. Ball 2 misses high. See a couple of the Iowa faithful are now standing at the top of the bleachers, with the midsection of their backs just reaching over the top of the fence, so their heads can feel the slight breeze that is picked up blowing in from right field. 2-1 misses outside, 3-1. It appears the Iowa field hockey team has entered the ballpark as well. So a couple of different Hawkeye teams out here supporting one another. Counts 3-1 from Vasquez. And Ramos check swing foul ball off the padding. And the count is full. You see, even with the throws back from Doster to Vasquez, Vasquez is having to shield her eyes from the sun. It hasn't proved to be a problem yet, but we've seen plenty of times this season already that sun can be very difficult to deal with if there, as an outfielder, if there's a ball hit in the air. And the full count off speed misses upstairs for ball 4. As Michaela Ramos draws the walk following the 3-run home run. It's Vasquez's second walk of the inning. So 2 walks and has also hit 2 Cyclones. Looks like we're going to have a runner over at first base for Ramos. She serves as the designated player. Our runner will be number 25, Fuentes. So Fuentes is on first base, running for Ramos following the walk. Still nobody out here in the top of the third. Iowa looking to end what was a 3-game losing skid and looking to avoid losing for the first time this year after scoring in the first inning. Mandy Gardner goes out to the circle. And Vasquez is going to hand the ball off to Denali Lecker. So Vasquez is done. We'll take a quick 30-second spot as Lecker warms up, and then we'll tell you about her. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Radio Network.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number 1.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye Softball.
Brianna Vasquez fails to get an out in the third inning. Finishes going 2 innings, allowing 3 runs on 2 hits. Struck out 2, but also walked 2 and hit 2 Cyclones as well. And is responsible for the runner on first. Denali Lecker, the new Hawkeye pitcher. Her stats this year, a 2-1 record with a 2.03 ERA over 48 and a third innings pitched. This will be her 22nd appearance on the season. Opponents are hitting .254 against her. 37 strikeouts to 17 walks. Is also leading the team with 6 saves this season. So Lecker is pretty much the only pitcher that Coach Gillespie and pitching coach Mandy Gardner like to use out of the pen. 22nd appearance, and only 2 of them have been starts. Almost exclusively is used in relief. First batter she's going to face is Angelina Allen, the Iowa State left fielder. Runner on first, nobody away. And here's a fly ball into deep left field. Klosterman's going back to the wall on the warning track, but doesn't run out of room this time. Makes the catch. And gets a loud applause from the Iowa fans. A nice hit ball from Angelina Allen. But it just caught up in the air for a little too long, and Klosterman able to range back and make the catch. Tiana Poole, the Iowa State cleanup hitter, is the new batter. Poole 0 for 1, struck out swinging against Vasquez in the first. Fuentes is still on first base, as Lecker misses low. Herky the Hawk in attendance today for the Hawkeyes as well. We don't see Herky every game. He's got a lot of different places to be, folks. But he's in attendance today, here to cheer on the Hawks. As Poole pulls one down the third base line and foul. Iowa, as I said, 22-4 this year when they're the first ones to score. Scored first today in the bottom of the first. Called strike on the outer part of the plate, and the count's 1-2. Lecker, not typically a strikeout pitcher for the Hawkeyes. Only 37 of them thus far on the season, this in 48 innings. So she kind of likes to rely on her defense. Here's a ball put in play, poked into right field. Nia Carter's charging on, and she's going to throw to second to cut down Fuentes. Fuentes, the pinch runner over at first base, couldn't really read if the ball was going to get caught or not. It drops in front of Carter, and Carter, who's charging hard, recognizes the situation and throws to second base to get Fuentes out on the force out. So that's going to go down as a 9-6 fielder's choice. You know, I'll tell you who that hurts even more. It hurts Tiana Poole, who was the Iowa State batter. She gets a base hit into right field taken off the board. Carly Spellhog watches ball 1. And watches ball 2 miss inside. Counts quickly 2-0. She was hit by a pitch to lead off the second inning in her first AB. It was the third time she was hit this year. The 2-0. Misses outside, and Lecker is behind 3 balls and no strikes to Carly Spellhog, the senior first baseman. Spellhog hitting .246 this year, but watches 4 straight balls as this one misses outside as well. So Denali Lecker quickly gets her first 2 outs, but a 4-pitch walk to Spellhog puts 2 runners on with 2 away, and Casey Simpson is the new Iowa State batter. Simpson is playing second base, 0 for 1, flew out into shallow center field in the second inning. And here's a line drive down the left field line. One hops off the wall, but foul. Hit really hard. But off the bat, you could kind of tell that it was going to fade foul. And eventually did, and it just goes down as a long strike. The 0-1 misses outside for ball one. And this is Iowa's second of their 3 in-state rival games this year. As here's a ground ball to Lecker back at the pitcher's mound. She fields it and makes the underhand toss to Diaz to first base for out number 3. So Denali Lecker comes into the game in relief of Brianna Vasquez and gets the 3 outs in the third. But Iowa State takes the 3-2 lead off of the 3-run home run off the bat of Ochoa over the left field wall. After 2.5, Iowa State leads it 3-2. You're listening to Iowa Softball with Learfield.
After a cancer diagnosis, it's natural to want to start treatment right away. But first, get a second opinion from a team that specializes in your cancer. I'm Dr. George Weiner, Director of University of Iowa Holden Comprehensive Cancer Center. Before you start treatment, you deserve to be confident you have the right diagnosis and know every option available to you. So whether it's with us or somewhere else, get a second opinion. It can change your care and your life.
Nia Carter will lead things off in the bottom of the third for Iowa as they try to retake the lead or at least tie the game after Iowa State took the lead in the top of the third. University of Iowa Healthcare has the game plan for your same-day healthcare needs. If you need treatment for a common illness or minor injury, visit one of several UI Quick Care or Urgent Care locations throughout the Iowa City-Cedar Rapids corridor. Their care and expertise will help you get back in the game. UI Healthcare is proud to sponsor your Iowa Hawkeyes. Nia Carter leading off for Iowa, walked in the first inning and came around and scored off of the error from Jaden Ralstone. Carter batting third today after hitting in the leadoff spot pretty much all season long. Coach Gillespie trying to switch things up, and here's a first pitch swinging line drive into left field and a leadoff base knock for Nia Carter. We know batting first is not something Nia Carter's not uncomfortable with. Loves leading off. It's just a touch under 600 when she's the first batter of an inning and laces one into left field for the Hawkeyes' second hit of the game. Tristan Doster steps up to the plate now for Iowa. Doster also drew a walk, one of the 3 back-to-back-to-back walks for Iowa in the first that loaded the bases. Ball one misses outside out of the hand of Ralstone. Counts 1-0. And she chases out of the zone, swings and misses. And the count evens at 1 apiece. So the count's 1-1. And this one's fouled off over the netting. For strike number 2, 1 ball and 2 strikes. See a couple of kids running down to go chase down that foul ball. Off the bat of Tristan Doster. Doster goes into her 2-strike approach where she shows bunt and pulls back. And she does. And she just fouls one off, hits her while she was still in the batter's box. And the count is still 1-2. Shadows now starting to creep out just onto the dirt of the infield. The outline of the press box just reaching fair territory, crossing the first base line. As the sun is setting just a little bit behind us and to the left. Ralstone into the delivery, and her pitch is a pop fly again in foul territory. And it's going to find the seats just in front of the press box, just in front of where I'm sitting, as a matter of fact. And the count is still 1-2. Doster able to hang tough with 2 strikes. He's fouled off 3 straight. Doster, 309 this year, 365 OBP. And she hits a ground ball towards Tyree over at third base. The throw over to second, and the throw over to first is not in time for the double play. They're able to cut off Carter at second on the 5-4 fielder's choice. Hit really hard off the bat of Doster. And a nice turn from Tyree and Simpson, but the relay over to first was just a tad late. And they are unable to double up Doster. We're now going to have a runner for the Iowa catcher over at first base. And Haley down. 0-0. And we know that Coach Gillespie loves using her runners early in the game. Elected not to run for Doster in the first. Chooses to use it now. 1 away. Downs on first, and Sammy Diaz is the new Hawkeye batter. Diaz 1 for 1. Drove in Iowa's first run of the game. Iowa eventually came around and scored another one on the air on the play. Diaz watches ball 1, miss outside, 1-0. Ralstone has thrown now 2 complete innings, misses outside again, 2-0, after coming in relief. After the Iowa State starter, Johnson was only able to retire 1 out before walking the bases loaded. And Ralston came in to try and get out of the jam. Pitches strike 1 now to Diaz, counts 2 balls and 1 strike. Diaz 278, a 373 OBP. 22 RBIs on the season, including her 1 in the first. Checks her swing on a ball a little bit low, and the count's 3-1. Diaz is one of 4 Hawkeye players who has started every game this season. Diaz started all 49 of them over at first. She's ahead 3 balls and 1 strike, and fouls 1 off over the first base dugout, and the count's full. Iowa State leads at 3-2. Iowa took a 2-0 lead in the first, but a 3-run home run for Iowa State in the top half of the third gives them a 3-2 lead. The full count pitch is a hard ground ball to shortstop. Ranches fields the ball, steps on second herself, and the throw over to first is a tad late. A really athletic play there from the Iowa State shortstop and Ranches. Fielded it herself, stepped on second, and the throw over on the jump throw was late. And now Iowa State coach is asking the umpires to talk about this one, talk about the play over at first. It was a bang-bang play, as the throw might have beaten Diaz, but the umpires are going to talk about it. And the umpire says that Spellhog pulled her foot off the bag. So that just goes down as a unassisted fielder's choice for Ranches. Diaz stands on first now. 2 away. Hawkeyes looking to avoid ruining what was a leadoff single off the bat of Nia Carter. Couple of fielder's choice. And the runner hasn't moved up. And there's now 2 outs. Tori Bennett, the Hawkeye batter. Bennett 0 for 1, flew out in a really good hit ball out into left field. Almost served as a sacrifice fly, but a good throw from Allen out and left. Stopped the run from advancing. Watches strike 1, 0-1. Now the reason Tori Bennett has moved down in the lineup is because, including today's game, she's won for her last 19 over the last 7 games played. Watches ball 1 outside. Now, 2 weeks ago, at the time, she had the 4th most hits in the Big Ten, but the recent struggles has dropped her all the way down to 14. Still hitting over 300 on the year, though. Watches ball 2 outside, 2-1. Two balls and 1 strike to the freshman shortstop from Fort Dodge. And she watches strike 2 and she can't believe it. As soon as the strike was called, she spins around and eyes kind of just look like they're about to pop out of her head. But it's called a strike and there's nothing she can do about it. Deuce is wild and here's a line drive into right center field. It's going to find the gap and 1 hop off the wall. Diaz is rounding third and headed for home. The throw home is in time. And the tag is applied from Wellett. A perfect relay from the Iowa State defense cuts off Sammy Diaz at home plate in what would have been the tying run. So the Hawkeyes get a pair of hits, including a big double off the bat of Tori Bennett, but Sammy Diaz cut off at home. As we head to the 4th inning, Iowa State leads at 3-2. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Radio Network.
Knowing that I can make a difference in my patients' lives keeps me motivated every single day. Hi, I'm Dr. Kanya Ferguson at University of Iowa Healthcare. With academic medicine, we see the toughest cases, so we're always innovating. And we bring the best minds together to collaborate, so there's more brain power focused on you. Because that leads to exceptional care for our patients and our community. See how at uihc.org.
At Oak Knoll, our mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, Executive Director. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served Iowa City for more than 55 years. Our team helps residents create home by living our values of caring, respect, enthusiasm, awareness, teamwork, and encouragement. If you're looking at retirement options, visit our website at oakknoll.com. We want you to lead life your way. Go Hawks!
Sarah Tyree will lead things off in the top of the 4th for Iowa State. Cyclones lead at 3-2. After Iowa tried to push across the game-tying run. Off the double off the bat at Tori Bennett, but Sammy Diaz was thrown out trying to score. Trying to go from first to home. Denali Lecker still in the circle for the Hawkeyes. Came in relief last inning. As we're still waiting to get things underway, it looks like we might have a pinch hitter. No, Tyree will be the batter, as scheduled. Couldn't see her hiding behind a pole. Hiding off onto the left side, just into the shadow. So Lecker gets onto the rubber, spins the ball a couple times on her hip, and the first pitch of the 4th misses outside, ball 1. Sarah Tyree is 0 for 1 today. She's the one who popped up into the double play in the 2nd inning. Pulls one foul down the third base line, 1-1. Iowa State was going with a hit and run. Something you don't typically see in softball, but Coach Pinkerton said, you know what, we got to do something to erase this 2-0 lead, but the hit and run didn't pan out as a pop fly was hit on the infield, and Sammy Diaz was able to double up the runner at first. Here's a ground ball to Bennett at shortstop. Her throw is a little low, but a nice pick at first base by Sammy Diaz. Picking machine. And there's one out in the 4th. Tori Bennett kind of short-armed it. Had to make a quick release because Tyree was running hard out of the box, but I think she just rushed herself a little long. Had more time to throw it. and that's why it was just a little bit low and in the dirt. Alicia Ranches watches ball one. Ranches 1 for 1, singled on a hard ground ball to lead off the third. He's hitting .226 this year with a .317 OBP. And she spits on one down the right field line, and it goes into the stands. Iowa State, who's coming off of a win against the then-ranked number 3 Oklahoma State Cowboys. They have since dropped to 7. Iowa State's won 5 of their last 7, counts 2-1 by the way to Ranches. They've won 5 of their last 7, including a 2-2 split with Colorado State earlier this week. And here's another foul ball down the third base line, and the count's 2-2. Hawkeyes' home season is coming to a close. Regular season, as a matter of fact, is coming to a close. After today, Hawkeyes have just one more home series, a single home game against UNI in the midweek, and then a final road trip before starting the Big Ten tournament in Champaign, Illinois. The 2-2 misses low to Ranches, and the count is now full. We will be covering all of those games for you on the Hawkeye Sports Network with Learfield. We'll carry you just as far as the Hawkeyes go. The full count is a ground ball to Baines at third base, who fields it off 2 hops, and the throw across the diamond is made for out number 2. Nice play over there at third from Baines. Baines, utility player on this infield, can play third base, plays second as well when Avery Jackson is starting, who typically plays third in those situations. Baines just has the ability to move all over the diamond. Natalie Wellett, the Iowa State batter, she's catching today. Watches ball 1 outside. Wellett drew a walk from Vasquez in the third. Eventually came around and scored. Fouls one off. It was up and in her eyes, and sends it over the seating. And the count's 1-1. Iowa State leads at 3-2 here at Pearl Field in the Iowa City, Coralville area. Ball misses low and inside, 2-1. We're about just at the point where Iowa City turns into Coralville. Here on the west side of the city. The 2-2-1 is a line drive into center field. Roman goes over and makes the catch. Falls to her knees after making the play. Well, that was a really nice play, a really good read from the Iowa center fielder in Tatiana Roman. So the Cyclones go 3 up, 3 down in the top of the 4th inning as we head to the home half. Due up for the Hawkeyes as Lecker, Baines, and Streff. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeyes Sports Network.
Knowing that I can make a difference in my patients' lives keeps me motivated every single day. Hi, I'm Dr. Kanya Ferguson at University of Iowa Healthcare. With academic medicine, we see the toughest cases, so we're always innovating. And we bring the best minds together to collaborate, so there's more brain power focused on you. Because that leads to exceptional care for our patients and our community. See how at uihc.org.
At Oak Knoll, our mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, Executive Director. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served Iowa City for more than 55 years. Our team helps residents create home by living our values of caring, respect, enthusiasm, awareness, teamwork, and encouragement. If you're looking at retirement options, visit our website at oaknoll.com. We want you to lead life your way. Go Hawks!
Denali Lecker is going to lead off the home half of the fourth inning for the Hawkeyes. Iowa looking to even the score. A game in which they led 2-0. Denali Lecker walked in her first plate appearance today. Is swinging the bat late as of well after what was a rough start to Big Ten play. He has turned things around just a little bit. Gone off to a scorching start this season, as the Iowa State coach Jamie Pinkerton is doing a between-inning interview right now on the TV broadcast. You see all of his girls are behind him trying to make distractions. But Coach Pinkerton he's a little preoccupied with the game going on right now. Iowa State leads at 3-2. Jaden Ralston is back in the circle for Iowa State after coming in relief of Tatum Johnson, who only went a third of an inning. Ralston came on with the bases loaded and one away. Made an error which allowed 2 Hawkeye runs to score. Lecker swinging first pitch and fouls it off over the first base dugout. Counts 0-1. Lecker has a hit in each of the last 2 games for Iowa. Of course, both of those games, games 2 and 3 of the Minnesota series. Had a hit in each of them. Watches ball 1-1. She had a 10-game hitting streak earlier this year before conference play started, and she's on her way to getting back to that point. Has a 2-game hitting streak right now. The 1-1 is a fly ball into left center field. It's shallow. Shortstop Ranches goes out and makes the over-the-shoulder catch. And that'll go down as an F6 in shallow left center field. One away in the home half of the fourth is Grace Baines as the new Hawkeye batter. Baines 0 for 1, popped up in foul territory to the catcher behind the plate in her first. She stranded the bases loaded with 2 outs. In the top of the first, Iowa had the chance to add on even more, but they still came away with 2. Ball 1 misses low and inside. Baines saw a 10-game hitting streak and 2 weeks ago, but she, just like Lecker, has started another one. Has a hit in 2 straight, and now is ahead 2 balls and no strikes. Baines, of course, scored the only run of the weekend against Minnesota in the top of the 7th inning that gave Iowa a 1-0 lead. Here's a fly ball out towards deep right center field. Back at the wall, and it is caught by Ochoa, the Iowa State center fielder. The ball had some run to it, carried a little bit to the wall, but Baines just didn't get quite enough of it, and she flies out on the warning track. 2 away, as Anna Streff now will bat for the Hawkeyes. Streff is looking to just change things up. I notice as she watches ball 1 upstairs, she's 0 for 1 with a strikeout today. I noticed she was wearing batting gloves in her first at-bat today, but swung and missed at the only 3 pitches he saw, and is now going no batting gloves. So anything you can do just mentally as a softball and baseball player, you do. Some of the most superstitious people you're ever going to meet. Strike 1 called, 1-1. And we say Streff wants to turn it around because she's 2 for her last 18. Her last 4 plate appearances have ended in a strikeout. And she fouls this one off as behind 1-2. But Coach Gillespie showing confidence in Streff, the freshman from Marion, Iowa. Continues to put her in the starting lineup, knows she has the ability to turn things around. The count's 1-2 with 2 away. The pitch is fouled off the netting. Count's still 1-2. Ralstone's kind of taking her time between pitches for Iowa State. He's just now taking the sign. Goes into the motion and the pitch. A check swing, but called strike 3 anyway. Iowa goes 3 up, 3 down in the home half of the 4th inning. They still trail it 3-2 as we head to the 5th. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Radio Network.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/IowansWin.
We go to the top of the 5th inning, and the game's really picked up its pace. If you remember, the first inning took a total of 32 minutes, in which Iowa had the bases loaded and scored twice, but the first inning took 32 minutes. And we've completed 3 since then in what's taken just under an hour. So we're an hour and a half into our game time. Innings 2, 3, and 4 took 60 minutes, while inning 1 took 32. So Malaysia Ochoa is going to lead off the top of the 5th. Now Ochoa has driven on all 3 runs today for Iowa State. Had the big 3-run home run over the left field wall. And that gave the Cyclones a 3-2 lead. She's reached in both of her plate appearances, actually. Has the 3-run home run, but also led off the game, getting hit by a pitch. Has yet to face Denali Lecker yet today, though. As Lecker is now in her 3rd inning of relief. And this screwball misses outside 1-0. Ochoa, who made the catch on the warning track a half inning ago. Off the bat of Baines, just missed leaving the yard. And here's a fly ball into deep right field. Carter's at the wall, but she can only watch it go as this one goes over the fence as well. A 2-home run day for Malaysia Ochoa. A 3-run shot in the 3rd, and now a solo home run over the right center field wall. And Iowa State now leads it 4-2, thanks to a pair of home runs from Malaysia Ochoa. And this one, you could pretty much tell it was gone off the bat. Ochoa knew it as well. As soon as she had dropped the bat, went into the home run trot before the ball eventually brushed through the top branches of the tree out in right center field. And Iowa State leads at 4-2. Lecker misses low and away to Michaela Ramos. Ooh, check that. Ramos, who was pinch ran for earlier in the game, has not re-entered. The pinch runner in Fuentes remains in the game, so she is the batter right now. Counts 2-0 to her. See how Lecker is able to respond after the home run, the first run she's allowed in this game. Ochoa really the only one in this Iowa State lineup who's given the Hawkeyes difficulty is Fuentes swings and misses 2-1. Ochoa is now 2 for 2, has the 2 home runs, was hit by a pitch, causing all kinds of chaos at the top of the Iowa State order. Iowa looking to avoid losing their 4th straight. The 2-1 is called strike. It was a little bit high, but just inside the strike zone to even the count at 2-2. The leadoff batters just continue to be the problem for Iowa pitching, as this one skims even before the plate, so the count's full. This is now the 5th inning in which Iowa State's come to the plate, and the leadoff batter has reached base safely in 4 of them. The one time being in the 4th, in which they went 1-2-3. But in 4 of the 5 innings, Iowa State's leadoff batter has reached base. The count's full, and this one's fouled off, hits Fuentes while she's still in the box. And the count will remain full. Denali Lecker, who had been really good in relief up until this point. That home run hit by Ochoa, the only mark on her outing. The count's still full, and the pitch is a ground ball to Bennett at shortstop. Fields it. The throw across the diamond is perfect, right into the chest of Diaz. And there's one away. Angelina Allen is the new Iowa State batter. The 3-hole hitter is 0 for 2. He's flied out twice into left field in Klosterman. The sun is now creating shadows of not just the press box, but the entire bleacher seating. As Allen fouls off the first pitch, 0-1. The shadows along the third baseline are just about reaching the edge of the pitching circle. You still see the outfielders are putting their hands above their to shield their eyes. And here's a line drive down the right field line, and it's going to get to the wall. Carter gets it in quickly, but Angelina Allen has a double down the right field line, and Iowa State has another runner in scoring position with only 1 out. That was an off-speed that just stayed caught over too much of the plate, and Allen was able to keep her hands inside and stayed through the softball and drove it out into right field. And it reached the wall off of about 2 or 3 hops. As the Iowa State coaches are having a meeting between themselves. Coach Jamie Pinkerton has called his first base coach over. And they are just talking amongst themselves in foul territory just in front of the plate, not even including Tiana Poole, the new batter, in the conversation. It's just the 2 coaches calling time to talk to each other. It was about strategies. Now it looks like we're going to have a substitution of some kind. Tiana Poole, it looks like, is going to get hit for Iowa State as she jogs back to the dugout, and Pinkerton's having a talk with our home plate ump. And we will have a pinch hitter for Tiana Poole. Our runner will be Kali Gosi. Gosi wearing number 4, left-handed batter. Gosi this year, not too many appearances. This is only her 6th game of the year. He has 11 at-bats. He is just 1 for 11 in those at-bats this year. Has struck out twice. And Denali Lecker is now going to get pulled from the game. Jalen Adams is going to be the new Iowa pitcher, so the 3rd pitcher of the game for the Hawkeyes. We'll take a quick little break, and then we'll talk about the pitching change. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeyes Sports Network.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/IowansWin.
So Denali Lecker exits the game after going 2 1/3 innings in relief. Gave up 1 run in the form of a solo home run. 2 hits, no strikeouts and a walk. but is responsible for the runner on second. Jalen Adams is the new Hawkeye pitcher. 6-11 record with a 2.12 ERA over 105 and 2/3 innings pitched. It's her 23rd appearance this season and only her 7th time coming out of the pen. 43 strikeouts to 22 walks. Adams is really a pitcher who does not strike people out. 43 strikeouts and over 100 innings of work, really just relies on her defense. First batter she'll see is the pinch hitter, and Gosi. So moves and counter moves is all you can do in a game like this. Coach Pinkerton goes with the pinch hitter for Iowa State, and Coach Gillespie responds with a pitching change in the form of Jalen Adams. Adams is behind 1-0 and now called strike to even the count at 1 ball and 1 strike to the pinch hitting Gosi. Runner stands on second base with 1 away here in the top of the 5th. Iowa State already scored after the home run off the bat of Ochoa. Adams misses on the off-speed outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. Adams' 2-1 is in off the fists of Gosi. And she gets it off the netting. Counts 2-2. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. Kali Gosi, Jalen Adams, her first batter in relief. And a swing and a miss. A ball up in the eyes. And Jalen Adams gets a much-needed strikeout. And there's quickly 2 away. And Carly Spellhog will bat for the Cyclones. It was an interesting pitch-hitting decision from Coach Pinkerton, as Gosi, again, only had 11 at-bats before that one this season, in what was a big spot. And Spellhog watches strike 1 out of the hands of Adams. Counts 0-1. Adams now has her glove over her eyes, and every time she's looking to take the sign in from the dugout. And her patented changeup is called ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Iowa State leads it 4-2 in what is the only game this season of a Cy-Hawk series. Strike 2 called this time on the changeup, and the count's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Jalen Adams looking for back-to-back strikeouts to start her relief day. Into the motion, and the 1-2 is a line drive towards left field. If it's fair, it's gone, but it's foul. It did go over the fence, but it was just pulled foul just late. So the count's 1 ball and 2 strikes still. The pitch. The curveball misses outside. And deuces are wild. Fans wanted that one, but it was certainly a couple of inches off the black. Deuces wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runner on second. Iowa State leads it 4-2. And here's a pop fly on the infield. Streff goes out to battle the sun, and she makes the catch in shallow center field for out number 3. So Jalen Adams comes into the game with a runner on second and 1 out. But a strikeout and a pop fly on the infield gets her out of the somewhat jam. As we head into the 5th inning stretch, Iowa State leads at 4-2. You're listening to Iowa Softball with Learfield.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number one.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye Softball.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/Iowans win.
New pitcher in for the Cyclones. And number 27, Saya Swain. Swain's numbers on the year: a 3.46 ERA, a 5-8 record, over 79 innings pitched, leads the team this year in innings. And something that's kind of significant about this Iowa State team, this is her 29th appearance, but she only has 10 starts on the year, and you look at all the numbers for everyone on the team, it's a very high number of appearances and low number of starts. So Coach Pinkerton loves rotating who he starts and just loves using a lot of different arms throughout the game. Swain, the third Iowa State pitcher used in this one. Swain is one of the best pitchers on this staff, you have to mention, and definitely one of the better pitchers in the Big 12. And she's facing Klosterman to lead off the fifth, who swings first pitch and hits a can of corn fly ball into left field, which is caught by Allen for out number 1. Swain is ranked in the top 35 nationally this year in strikeouts per 7 innings. He is the leading strikeout pitcher on the team, the only one with over 100, nearly twice as many as the next on the team. Roman comes up and swings first pitch as well, and she fouls it off the netting. So first two Hawkeyes to face Saya Swain, and they both swing first pitch. Klosterman flies out to left, but Roman just fouls it off the netting. Roman is 0 for 1. She watches ball 1 low and away. Roman walked in the first, later came around and scored the first run of the game for the Hawkeyes and struck out looking in the second. Bottom of the fifth now, she gets her third plate appearance, fouls one off. So the count is 1-2. Again, Roman, who enjoyed a very good Game 3 on Sunday against Minnesota, going 3 for 4 with 3 singles. It's pretty much exclusively what Roman hits. And she tries to check her swing but can't hold up. So she goes down swinging in her second strikeout of the day. 2 away as Nia Carter steps up to the plate for the Hawkeyes. Carter has reached base safely in both of her appearances. Walked in the first and scored, and singled on a line drive into left field. She shows bunt first time, tried to pull back at the last second, but didn't do it in time. Goes foul. And she is behind 0-1. That single into left came in the third inning. She led off the third, in fact, but back-to-back fielders' choices stranded the Hawkeye runner at first. Tori Bennett rips a double into the right center field gap as the 0-1 misses outside 1-1. Bennett laces one into the right center field gap, pretty much 2 hops off the wall. And Sammy Diaz, who was the Hawkeye runner at first base, tries to come around and score, but she's thrown out at home on what was a perfect relay from the Iowa State defense. 1-1 is outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Corners are in as Carter, a very likely opponent, to try and bunt for a hit, but it misses outside. 3-1. And the trick is when defenses bring their corners in to stop Carter from bunting, that just makes it a bigger hole for her to push it through on the left side or pull it through on the right. And she draws the walk, the 2-out walk, and Carter has now reached base safely in all 3 appearances today, 2 walks and a single. Tristan Doster, the Iowa catcher, will step up to the plate now. Doster's 0 for 1, has walked and grounded into a fielder's choice. It was a very hard-hit ground ball to third base, but right at Sarah Tyree, the Iowa State third baseman. They tried to turn 2, but Doster was able to leg it out just enough. Swings first pitch and pulls it down the third base line, but foul. 0-1. If this was still a 1-run game, I would almost guarantee Nia Carter taking off from first base, but as the Hawkeyes trail by 2, her run doesn't matter. No point in trying to risk a run that would risk an out that would just make it a 1-run game. The 0-1 is called strike 2. An off speed that was over the outer part of the plate, but caught just enough of it, and Doster is behind 0-2. Her 2-strike approach pulls back the bunt, but called strike 3, and Doster can't believe it, but the umpire rings her up anyway, and Swain gets her second strikeout of the inning. As we head to the top of the 6th, Iowa State leads it 4-2. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Radio Network.
After a cancer diagnosis, it's natural to want to start treatment right away. But first, get a second opinion from a team that specializes in your cancer. I'm Dr. George Weiner, Director of University of Iowa Holden Comprehensive Cancer Center. Before you start treatment, you deserve to be confident you have the right diagnosis and know every option available to you. So whether it's with us or somewhere else, get a second opinion. It can change your care and your life.
As we head to the top of the 6th inning, the crowd's enjoying the Poncheros Burrito Lift. Poncheros, a proud sponsor of all Iowa athletics. Patented Poncheros Burrito Lift at every game. Any sporting event you go to, there's going to be a Poncheros Burrito Lift at some point during the game. Casey Simpson will lead off the top of the 6th for the Cyclones. Simpson, the Iowa State second baseman, 0 for 2. He's flied out into center field and grounded out to the pitcher. The flyout came against Vasquez. The groundout came against Lecker. So facing Jalen Adams for the first time today. Adams, who is the third Iowa pitcher of the game in what is only her, 7th relief appearance this season. She came in last inning with a runner on second and 1 out, but got a strikeout and a pop-up on the infield to stop Iowa State from extending their lead. And here's a first pitch swinging ground ball, but pulled foul of the third baseline off the bat of Casey Simpson. Hawkeyes looking for a comeback in this game, as here's a squibbler of a pop fly out into shallow right field just over the outstretched glove of Anna Streff. And it drops in safely for a base hit. And again, 6 innings now. Iowa State's come up to the plate in the 5th time that their leadoff batter has reached base safely. 5 of the 6 innings, the first batter for Iowa State of the inning has reached base. A large reason as to why they lead it 4-2 at this point. And showing bunt as Tyree gets it down. Adams bobbles it a little bit, but throws over to first base and the covering Streff. So Tyree goes down on the sacrifice bunt, but Simpson advances to second, and Iowa gets the out. Alicia Ranches, the Iowa State shortstop, is the new batter. Ranches is 1 for 2. singled on a hard ground ball into left field and grounded out to Baines at third. So a couple of balls pulled to the left side of the field. Watches ball one outside, 1-0 from Adams to Ranches. The 1-0 misses outside as well, and the count's 2 balls and no strikes. Hawkeyes trailing after 5 innings this year are only 1-13 when that happens. And here's another ball pulled down the third baseline. Play is made by Baines, who looks Simpson back to second and throws over to first. For out number 2, really smart play there from the Iowa third baseman, and Baines able to keep Simpson, the Iowa State runner, at bay on second base and unable to advance. Natalie Wellett, the new Iowa State batter, catching today. And she swings first pitch. It's a weak ground ball back up the middle. Streff goes over to second base, and her throw to first is late. And Natalie Wellett reaches on an infield single. And that is her first hit of the season. And what is only her second start as well, her third game of the year. She hits one off the hands and hits it so weakly on the infield that she's able to leg it out for an infield single. Simpson advanced to third, so runners on first and third as Iowa State turns the lineup over, and Malaysia Ochoa is at the plate, who of course has 2 home runs today for the Cyclones. Watches strike one, 0-1, has homered off both of the other 2 pitchers Iowa's used today, facing Adams for the first time. We'll see if Adams finally has the answer. Ochoa has not been retired today, 2 for 2, and has also been hit by a pitch. Adams is ahead, 0-1. Screwball misses outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Again, runners on first and third with 2 away. Very important batter right now for both teams. Adams misses outside, 2-1. The scheduled batter on deck is Fuentes, who came in as a pinch runner. But it looks as if the starter, Michaela Ramos, is back out there in the on-deck circle, as Adams misses up high, 3-1. If it's Fuentes on deck, Fuentes is 0 for 1, as is Ramos. So the count's 3-1. Walk here isn't the worst thing in the world. And there is ball 4. Curveball couldn't curve back into the zone. So the 2-out walk to Ochoa loads the bases for Iowa State. And we will have a re-entry. As Michaela Ramos will re-enter her spot in the lineup. Was pinch ran for and later pinch hit for. And we're going to have another running change out on the bases for Iowa State. There's going to be a new runner at second base. Waiting to see a number. I believe it's number 19 in Nelson, Leah Nelson. Yes, that is 19. So Leah Nelson now stands on second base. And something I didn't point out at the top of the inning was that Iowa also had a change behind the plate. Ramos swings first pitch and fouls it off. Something I didn't mention at the top of the half inning, Skyland Pogue, the freshman from Eureka, Missouri, has entered the game to catch for Iowa. Her first appearance in a long, long while. See if I can pull up her stats to find the last time she played. Adams bounces one in the dirt. It's blocked by Pogue. So the count's 1-1. Walk here would bring in another Iowa State run. The 1-1 is low again. Again, nice block from Pogue behind the plate. Counts 2 balls and 1 strikes. Adams got to find the zone now. And yes, if we look at Skyland Pogue, this is her first game since March 11th. Caught quite a few times in the non-conference schedule, but catching for the first time in Big Ten. Here's a line drive into left field. It's going to drop in safely for a base hit. Nelson rounds third, and the throw home bounces over the head of Pogue. 2 Iowa State runners will score on the RBI single off the bat of Michaela Ramos. Iowa State leads at 6-2. A line drive of a hit into left field. Klosterman fields it off a 1-hop. 1 run scored easy. Her throw home was a tad late in it after off a 1-hop bounced over the head of the Iowa catcher and Pogue. And Iowa State now holds a 6-2 lead. First pitch swinging. Here's a ground ball. Diving stop by Straff on the infield, but she has no play at first base. Another run scores. Cyclone lead is now 7-2 on the RBI infield single off the bat of Allen. Couple of hard hit balls now, and all 3 of the Iowa pitchers have had a bit of a rough outing. It's going to go down as a infield single. For Allen. Adams is still working. First pitch changeup is high. So there's runners on the corners with 1 out. And Tiana Poole is at the plate, who re-entered a little bit ago. And she hits a weak ground ball to first base that is fielded by Diaz, and she steps on the bag for out number 3. But Iowa State scores 3 more. They go 3 runs on 4 hits, 1 Iowa error. And they now lead it by a score of 7-2. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeyes Sports Network.
At Oak Knoll, our mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, Executive Director. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served Iowa City for more than 55 years. Our team helps residents create home by living our values of caring, respect, enthusiasm, awareness, teamwork, and encouragement. If you're looking at retirement options, visit our website at oakknoll.com. We want you to lead life your way. Go Hawks!
Due up for the Hawkeyes is Diaz, Bennett, and Adams. Or excuse me, not Adams. That should be Denali Lecker. Lecker's the DP. My game changer's acting a little bit funny right now. But so it's Diaz, Bennett, and Lecker. So one of the nice rules about softball, your DP can go into the field but exit the game defensively and still remain in the offensive lineup. Saya Swain is still in the circle for Iowa State. She came in an inning of relief last inning. Held the Hawkeyes scoreless. Iowa hasn't scored since the bottom of the first inning, in which they were gifted an opportunity in which the bases were loaded via the walk. Three straight walks. Iowa scored 2 in the situation, also thanks to an Iowa State error. Have been unable to score since. Strike 1 taken by Diaz, 0-1. Diaz was the one who drove in the first run of the game for the Hawkeyes. He had an infield hot shot that hit off the glove of the pitcher. 2 runs came around and scored on the play. Counts 1-1 to the Iowa first baseman. Watches strike 2, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Iowa State 7 runs on 9 hits and 1 error. Iowa 2 runs on 3 hits and 1 error. And what's been an offensive explosion for Iowa State, something we typically do not see out of them. This is a team that just hits .237 as a squad. Has 9 hits so far today. And here's a ground ball to second base, fielded by Simpson, and her throw over to first is easy peasy. And there is 1 away. Tori Bennett, the shortstop, will bat now. And last plate appearance, if you're looking for something, if you're looking to stay on the bright side right now for the Hawkeyes, it looks like her last at-bat, and really both of her at-bats today, Tori Bennett seems to be getting back in the right direction. Smoked a ball out into left field that was caught by the left fielder in Allen, but she hit it on the nose. And then her next plate appearance laced a double into the right center field gap. Watches ball 1. He's ahead 1-0. And this late scoring slump for the Hawkeyes, you immediately have to look at Tori Bennett, who is your 3-hole hitter. But as I said, she's been swinging it well today. Watches strike 1, 1-1. Had been 1 for 18 over the last 6 Big Ten games, but put 2 very good looks on the ball today, including the double into right center. Watches ball 2. It was Bennett's 10th double of the season, which leads the team, only Hawkeye this year with double-digit doubles. It's an Iowa team that really doesn't hit for extra bases very often. She swings and misses to even the count at 2-2. This Iowa team has the 4th least amount of doubles in the Big Ten, the 2nd least amount of home runs. It's a team that loves playing small ball. As Bennett's able to poke one foul down the first baseline. But it's not a team that can't just hit. It's not that you can't hit. The team average is .285. That's 5th best in the conference. They were number 1 for a little bit at a point, too. They have the 4th most hits with 387, so it's not a team that can't hit. They're a very good hitting team, just a team that doesn't hit for a lot of power. And Bennett just gets enough of one, kind of lunged out at it to try and stay alive. Just got it off the very tip of the very end of the bat. The shadows have now completely covered our pitcher's rubber, our pitcher's circle. They have extended out past first and second base, but our outfielder's still having trouble. Ball 3 misses low and inside, and the count is now full to Tori Bennett. Bennett, another one of those 4 Hawkeye players who have started all 49 games for Iowa. All 49 starts at shortstop. Swings and hits a ground ball to third base, and the throw is low from Tyree, and Spellhog can't make the pick over at first base. She blocked it up, but couldn't make the pick. That'll go down as an E5. A throwing error from Tyree over at third. So the Hawkeyes are gifted a runner in Denali Lecker. Will bat for Iowa. Lecker is 0 for 1, has a hit in 2 straight, looking to create a 3-game hitting streak. First pitch skims across the dirt, and it's going to get past the catcher and well it. Bennett advances to second on the wild pitch. And now Iowa State as a team is going to have a meeting in the circle. Try and talk to Swain and maybe just as a group calm down and come together. Iowa crowd hasn't thinned out despite trailing by 5 runs. I mentioned it a little bit ago, but what is definitely the highest attended game so far this season for the Hawkeyes. Haven't had many home games this year. This only the 9th one of the season. As Lecker watches strike 1, it just catches the outside corner 1-1. Lecker fouls one off. Hits the padding, comes right back to the catcher. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Denali Lecker. Lecker, who pitched earlier today as well for Iowa. She went 2 1/3, giving up just 1 run off of a solo home run. Out of the 3 Iowa pitchers today, she's probably the one who did the best. And she hits a weak ground ball to the third baseline over the third base bag. Nice backhand, but our home plate umpire calls it foul. Would have been a really nice play from Tyree over at third. I was looking at our third base umpire to put his arms up in the air to signal it foul, but anything that's fielded before the third base bag, or the first base bag, that is, either direction, doesn't matter. If it's fielded before the bag, the judgment belongs to the home plate umpire. Here's a spinning, one-hopping ground ball on the infield. Simpson fields it and throw over to retire Lecker. Bennett advances to third on it. It was hit off the bat really strange from Denali Lecker. Had a lot of spin on it, stayed in the infield, and Bennett had to pause before advancing to see if it was going to get caught by Simpson. He thought maybe with so much spin on it, maybe it would just scoot out of her way and Lecker would be able to advance. And here's a pitch low and in the dirt. Tori Bennett will come home and score easily for the Hawkeyes on the wild pitch. And Iowa trails 7-3. So sometimes you just got to get lucky. And so that's what Iowa's getting at this point. Couple of wild pitches, and they're able to get one of the runs back, but they still trail it 7-3 in the bottom of the 6th inning. 1-1 count now with Grace Baines at the plate, the Iowa third baseman. Baines is over 2, and she could really use a hot streak that she was on earlier this year. And there's called strike 2. Tori Bennett, the Hawkeye who just scored, that's her 3rd run scored since March 28th. So it's been nearly a month, and it's only the 3rd time she's scored this season, something you need a lot more of out of your 3-hole hitter. And I guess she's hitting 6th today, but still. Ball 2. Now deuces are wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. As ball 3 misses, and the count's now full to Grace Baines. Again, I say she could use another one of those hot streaks. She had a 10-game hitting streak end about 2 weeks ago, maybe a week and a half, and has gone just 1 for 18 since. Draws ball 4, and a 2-out walk puts Grace Baines at first. We're going to have a pinch hitter at the plate for the Hawkeyes in replace of Streff. Streff, who has struck out twice today. Our pinch hitter is number 43, Emma Henderson. Henderson is hitting .300 this season. .300 this year with 364 OBP, .350 slugging percentage. In replace of Anna Streff. Watches strike 1 out of the hand of Saya Swain. And the count is 0-1. Henderson doesn't see a lot of playing time for Iowa. This is only her 19th appearance of the year. Watches ball 1 up high. 1-1. And she pulls a line drive, but foul, nearly into the Iowa dugout. 1-2. Baines stands on first base, or is walking back to it, I should say, after the foul ball. Baines is on first, 2 away here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Hawkeyes trail by 4 to the Iowa State Cyclones. And here's another foul ball over the first base dugout this time. Count's still 1-2. Iowa looking for anything they can to do to make what would be a miraculous comeback after a game they had led previously 2-0 in the first. Henderson swings and misses on the off-speed for strike number 3. Hawkeyes score a run, but after 6 complete, they trail it 7-3. You're listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Radio Network.
After a cancer diagnosis, it's natural to want to start treatment right away. But first, get a second opinion from a team that specializes in your cancer. I'm Dr. George Weiner, Director of University of Iowa Holden Comprehensive Cancer Center. Before you start treatment, you deserve to be confident you have the right diagnosis and know every option available to you. So whether it's with us or somewhere else, get a second opinion. It can change your care and your life.
At Oak Knoll, our mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, Executive Director. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served Iowa City for more than 55 years. Our team helps residents create home by living our values of caring, respect, enthusiasm, awareness, teamwork, and encouragement. If you're looking at retirement options, visit our website at oakknoll.com.
Anna Streff will re-enter the game for the Hawkeyes and go back to second base. And the crowd was having a bit of a chant-off there between innings. The Iowa State team started a Cyclone power chant with their own fans, and the Hawkeye faithful responded with a Let's Go Hawks chant. Both were short-lived, however. Jalen Adams still in the circle, and Carly Spellhog is going to lead off the top of the 7th. Watches strike 1 across the outer half. This year, when Iowa enters the 7th inning while losing, they are 2-15 on the season. Adams is 0-1. Is a pop fly on the infield. Streff and Bennett talking it over. Bennett makes the catch just behind second base. 1 away. This is the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk series between the Iowa Hawkeyes and Iowa State Cyclones, and we'll talk to you about our friends at Iowa Corn. When corn grows fuel, Iowans win. Ethanol is renewable fuel that's better for our environment, our health, and our wallets. Share your winning moments using hashtag IowansWin. Plus, you'll be eligible for some fun, corny giveaways. First pitch to Casey Simpson is called ball 1. Simpson is 1 for 3. Is flied out, grounded out, and singled on a pop fly into shallow center field that just went over the outstretched glove of Anna Streff at second base. Fouls this one over the net. 1-1. In what is Iowa's third to last home set of the season. This just a one-game series. Here's a foul ball pulled down the left field line. They return home this weekend for a 3-game set against Rutgers, and then a week from today will be their final home game of the season. Their final in-state matchup, this time against the UNI Panthers. Adams is 1-2, misses outside. Iowa beat Drake earlier this year in the first of their in-state rival matchups. And of course, trailing right now, 7-3 to the Iowa State Cyclones. Iowa State's won 3 straight against the Hawkeyes in the series. Here's another foul ball. And the count's still 2-2. Coach Gillespie keeping Pogue back behind the plate. You're yet to see that spot in the order come up to the plate. Want to see if she's going to have Pogue come up to the plate and bat in place of Doster, or if she's just giving Doster a break. Fouled off the netting again. Count is still 2-2. This will be the 7th pitch of the at-bat coming up. And I asked that about Pogue, and in case that spot does come up, Pogue's hitting .212 this year compared to Doster hitting a little over 300. 2-2 misses inside. Nice frame job from Pogue behind the plate. But our umpire wasn't buying it, and the count's full. Wednesday night now in Iowa City, as it's about 7:20. And here's a ground ball to Bennett, who ranges over to her right side and makes a strong throw right to the nose of Sammy Diaz at first. And there's now 2 away, as Sarah Tyree, the Iowa State third baseman, makes the slow walk up to the right-handed batter's box. Tyree is 0 for 2, popped into a double play, grounded out, and had a sacrifice bunt. She also has an error in this game defensively over at third base. And that run eventually came around and scored. Ball 1 up and in. From Jalen Adams. And this one is fouled off the ankle, and looks like of Sarah Tyree. She appears to be okay. Walks it off for just a little bit, but she seems more frustrated with her swing than anything. Tyree, the senior infielder, very senior-dominated squad, this Iowa State team. Iowa trails at 7-3. 2 away in the top of the 7th. And this one's pulled foul of the third baseline. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Due up in the top half of in the bottom half of the 7th inning is the top of the order for Iowa. 1, 2, and 3 with Klosterman, Roman, and Carter. And they're looking to score 4 runs to stay alive in this game, more than double what they've done thus far. The 1-2, Tyree thinks about the fastball up and in her eyes, but is able to hold off. And the count evens at 2 apiece. Deuces wild. 2 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs. The pitch. Misses just inside, maybe a little high as well. Up to the umpire's discretion, but nonetheless, the count's full. Adams doesn't want to pitch a 2-out walk here to Sarah Tyree. Adams working a little bit slower in pace terms today than she usually does. And the changeup, Tyree's able to just sit back enough and foul it off. I think it just about hit the top of the press box down on the other end. Count's still full. Here a couple of chants from the Iowa crowd, and here's a foul ball ripped down the third baseline. Iowa fans just doing everything they can to keep their team in high spirits, because you got to have good emotions. You got to be feeling well if you're going to want to mount this comeback. Tyree has been standing in the box with bunt shown for a long time. She's ready to go. But Adams misses outside, and that's a 2-out walk for Sarah Tyree. I think Coach Pinkerton wants to go with a runner over at first base in place of Tyree. He's been using his bench quite a bit today. Our pinch runner will be number 18 for Iowa State and Marist. So there's a runner on first now for the Cyclones with 2 away. Adams at least trying to keep this somewhat attainable, a somewhat attainable lead. Attainable comeback, I should say, for the Hawkeyes. And the changeup misses somewhere. Little inside, maybe a little high. Don't always have the angle that the umpire has. So it's called ball 1 to Alicia Ranches. Ranches 1 for 3, And she's strictly a pull hitter. All three of her stuff on today has been on the left side. Here's another one on the left side. And into left center field. Hard ground ball base hit for Ranches. That's a pair of hard ground balls that have gotten through the infield and reached the outfield for a base knock. So a 2-out walk is followed up by a 2-out single into center. You know, Iowa State has a runner in scoring position with 2 outs. And the difference in this game really has just been the hitting compartment as a whole. Ball 1 misses low to Natalie Willett. Iowa State now has 10 hits on the day. And the biggest trick is 4 of them have come with runners in scoring position. As a team, they're 4 for 11 with runners in scoring position. As this one misses outside as well to Willett, and it's 2-0. Leadoff batter was really the biggest problem, I'd say, of the day for the Hawkeyes. In the 7 innings that Iowa State has come to the plate, the leadoff runner has reached safely 5 times. And here's a fly ball into deep right field. Carter is going back, battling the sun, but makes the catch for out number 3. So Iowa State gets a pair of 2-out runners, but they're both stranded. We're heading to the bottom of the 7th inning. The Iowa Hawkeyes are trailing 7-3, due up for the Hawks as Klosterman, Roman, and Carter. Iowa City Tire and Service is a proud supporter of Hawkeye softball. You can find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Iowa City Tire, where service actually comes first. Hawkeyes looking for what would be their biggest comeback of the year, at least in 7th inning terms, and when they're trailing in the 7th inning, they are 2-15 on the year. I should say when they start the year, when they start the 7th inning trailing, they're 2-15 on the year. Leading things off is going to be Briley Klosterman for Iowa. Klosterman is 0 for 3. Klosterman is grounded out to shortstop in the first inning, struck out looking in the second, and flew out into left field in the 5th. So what's been a 0 for day for the Iowa leadoff batter, a newly appointed Iowa leadoff batter, I should say. Klosterman typically somebody who hits in the lower part of the lineup, sometimes 8, sometimes 7, sometimes 5. But Coach Gillespie is really trying to change things up and rock a new lineup and try and push runs across the board somehow. Completely overhauled lineup, and what looked like it was off to a hot start as Iowa scored 2 in the first inning, but have scored 1 run in the 5 innings since, and the 1 run came thanks to an Iowa State defensive error. But Klosterman will look to turn things around. Hawkeyes trail by 4. Klosterman watches strike 1 on the outside corner out of the hand of Saya Swain. Swain in her 3rd inning of relief. The leading strikeout pitcher on this Iowa State squad. Klosterman has the ability to just turn things on like that. The ability to just flip a switch and get into a hot streak. Looking to do that now. Behind 0-1 and hits a ground ball that hits off the glove of the first baseman Spellhog. It's retrieved by Simpson at second, but Klosterman beats it out. It'll be interesting to see how that one's gone down. It hit just off the tip of the glove of Spellhog, and I think it should go down as a hit. Appeared just out of her range on the backhand. Hit just off of her glove. The second baseman, Simpson, tracked it down, but the flip over to first was late. And yes, they do rule it a hit. So an infield single for Briley Klosterman to lead off the 7th inning, but the Hawkeyes are going to need a lot more than that. Here we go, Tatiana Roman. Watches ball 1 outside. Roman's 0 for 2. Has walked and struck out looking twice. Or I should say the second strikeout was swinging. It was on a check swing. So I guess they called it on the swing. Watches ball 2 outside as well, so she's ahead 2-0. Corners are way in, especially over at third. Strike 1 called. 2 balls and 1 strike to Tatiana Roman, Iowa center fielder. Remember, she went 3 for 4 on Sunday, I should say. Ahead 2-1. And ball 3 misses upstairs. 3 balls and 1 strike. Hawkeyes looking to start a rally. Klosterman's on first after the leadoff infield single. Roman's ahead 3-1 now. Nia Carter waits on deck. And Swain steps off the rubber, calls time. Wants a new pitch. The 3-1. Misses low and outside. Ball 4. Tatiana Roman draws the walk, and she's fired up. Iowa State's going to take a meeting now in the circle. Coach Gillespie's trying to will her squad to the comeback win against their in-state bitter rival in the Iowa State Cyclones. Now the Iowa State pitching coach is going to come out there. Hawkeyes have runners on first and second with nobody out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Nia Carter's at the plate and has reached base safely in all 3 plate appearances thus far. A pair of walks and singled into left field. Briley Klosterman stands on second. Tatiana Roman's on first. Klosterman has decent speed, but stealing third base here was just no point to it, no rhyme or reason. Infield is very far in. Third baseman and Tyree is over halfway between third and home. Carter watches strike 1, excuse me. So with Tyree standing so close to the plate, there's nobody there to cover third if Klosterman were to try and swipe the bag. This one's fouled down the third base line, so Nia Carter is quickly behind 0-2. Not a strong strikeout candidate, one of 7 players in the Big Ten who has struck out less than 7 times this year. But she did strike out 1 time on Sunday against Minnesota. Behind 0-2 now. And doesn't chase the fastball up and in her eyes, 1-2. Opponents are hitting just a tick over 200 against Swain this year, but Nia Carter leads the league in batting average. Here's a fly ball into right field, and it's caught by Poole. Klosterman's tagging from second. She slides into third base head first safely. So Nia Carter flies out to right for the first out, and Klosterman tags and advances to third. Runners on the corners now. And Skyland Pogue coming up in a big spot for the Hawkeyes. Her first plate appearance. Let me see if I can pull it back up. Her first plate appearance since March 11th against the Princeton Tigers. Watches strike 1, 0-1. And she just gets a piece of 1 and is quickly behind 0-2. Skyland Pogue came in the game defensively about halfway through for Tristan Doster. In our post-game interview with Coach Gillespie, we will ask her what led her to go with Pogue behind the plate. Pogue's behind 0-2 and watches strike 3 on the outside corner for out number 2. Sammy Diaz will bat now for the Hawkeyes with runners on the corners and 2 away. She's 1 for 3. Has the only RBI of the game today for Iowa. Despite Iowa scoring 3 runs, only one of them has been done to their own accord. Iowa State defense, a pair of errors, has helped them along the way. Diaz watches strike 1. And the count's 0-1. Tori Bennett stands on deck representing the game-tying run. This now has become a save opportunity. And here's a hard ground ball through the left side for a base hit. Briley Klosterman steps on home plate. Sammy Diaz, RBI single into left field. Hawkeyes trail by 3. Tying runs coming to the dish. Torrey Bennett at the plate representing the game-tying run for the Hawkeyes. This year, Bennett has no home runs. Home run now would tie the game. Roman stands on second. Diaz is on first. Hawkeyes trail it by 3. Strike 1 called. Remember, Bennett smoked a ball into left field that was caught, but has also laced one into right center field for a double. Misses low and away for ball 1. I think Bennett thought for a second there that the umpire was going to call it a strike. Gave a little bit of frustration, but he agreed with her that it was out of the zone. Count still 1-1. And she checks her swing, but fouls it off. And is now behind 1-2. Hawkeyes are down to their last strike. Torrey Bennett at the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Swain is going to ask for a different ball out there in the circle. Gives a little smile as the some Iowa fans chipping at her, all in good fun though. As the temperature continues to drop now in Iowa City as the sun continues to set. The 1-2 is called strike 3 on Torrey Bennett, and that'll be the ball game. Final score, Iowa State 7, Hawkeyes 4. As we're going to take a quick little break, and then we'll get into our post-game coverage. Again, final score, Iowa State 7, Iowa 4. You've been listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Radio Network.
After a cancer diagnosis, it's natural to want to start treatment right away. But first, get a second opinion from a team that specializes in your cancer. I'm Dr. George Weiner, Director of University of Iowa Holden Comprehensive Cancer Center. Before you start treatment, you deserve to be confident you have the right diagnosis and know every option available to you. So whether it's with us or somewhere else, get a second opinion. It can change your care and your life.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number 1.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye softball.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/IowansWin.
At Oak Knoll, our mission is to provide exceptional retirement living and health services through life care. I'm Steve Rowe, Executive Director. We are a not-for-profit life plan community and have served Iowa City for more than 55 years. Our team helps residents create home by living our values of caring, respect, enthusiasm, awareness, teamwork, and encouragement. If you're looking at retirement options, visit our website at oakknoll.com. We want you to lead life your way. Go Hawks!
It's now time for our post-game coverage here, as the Iowa State Cyclones just defeated the Iowa Hawkeyes by a final score of 7-4. Hi, I'm Lucas Strain. You've been listening to Iowa Softball with Learfield. It was the first time this season that the Iowa Hawkeyes lost after scoring in the first inning. They were a perfect 11-0. Coming into today's game, scored a pair of runs in the first before eventually losing by a final score of 7-4. These runs were scored in the first inning after 3 straight walks loaded the bases for Iowa. Sammy Diaz, well, Iowa State then made a pitching change after that, and then Sammy Diaz hits a shot up the middle, hits off the glove of the pitcher. Iowa State pitcher was able to knock it down. A run scored on the play, but then as the pitcher scooted over to pick up the ball and throw to first, on the spinning action, she spiked it into the dirt, and it went off the wall. On the air, another Iowa run was able to score. So that's how Iowa took a 2-0 lead, and they carried the lead into the 3rd inning before Iowa State hit a 3-run home run to take their first lead of the game, and they never looked back. Ochoa will be the hero you have to talk about in this game for the Cyclones. She reaches base safely in all 4 plate appearances today, doing a little bit of everything. The 3-run home run in the 3rd to give Iowa State a 3-2 lead, then hit a solo home run leading off the 5th to extend their lead to 4-2. Was also hit by a pitch to lead off the game, and then later drew a walk as well. So Ochoa doing just a little bit of everything. And then you have to just talk about the rest of this Iowa State lineup, a team that tallied 10 hits, a team that usually hits in the 230s this season, the lowest batting average in the Big 12. Gets 10 hits today. And Iowa State offense comes alive as they take down Iowa 7-4. Still waiting on Coach Gillespie. It's been a rather long talk out in left field for the team. Won't try to keep her long, just a pair of questions we want to ask her. We want to talk to her about the new lineup that the Hawkeyes rocked. Complete change-up from them. Talk to her about Skyland Pogue replacing Tristan Doster. Maybe it was injury, maybe it was just something they saw. Maybe it was just finally time to give Doster a break after she had caught 22 straight games for Iowa. Iowa pitching struggled in this one, but again, you have to just credit the Iowa State offense. We look at the final stat lines for all 3 Hawkeye pitchers. Brianna Vasquez got the start, who has been the ace this year for Iowa, an ERA under 2, top 10. All 3 Iowa pitchers are in the top 10 in the conference in ERA. The team has the 3rd best ERA in the entire Big Ten as a whole. So it's a very good pitching staff, and they just got lit up today. Brianna Vasquez got the start, went 2 innings, gave up 3 runs on 2 hits, striking out 2, walking 2, and hitting 2 as well. So a bit of a rough outing for Brianna Vasquez. Denali Lecker came in relief, and Lecker went 2 1/3, giving up 1 run on 3 hits and walking 1. Lecker's 1 run came off of the solo home run off of the bat of Malaysia Ochoa. And then Jalen Adams was the 3rd and final pitcher of the game for the Hawkeyes. She finished going 2 2/3 innings. She gave up 3 runs, although only 1 of them was earned. On 5 hits, struck out 1 and walked 2. So the command just wasn't always there for Iowa today. Got to clean things up. It's another thing we'll talk to Coach Gillespie about. Between the 3 pitchers, 5 walks and 2 hit by pitches. We can't be giving up the free passes like that, especially to an Iowa State offense that typically year-long hasn't pitched it all too well. If we look at the Iowa offense, again, it's a team that mustered 5 hits, and Sammy Diaz had 2 of them. Sammy Diaz got to be our highlight player that we talk about on the offensive side. She went 2 for 4 with a pair of singles and had the only RBIs of the game for the Hawkeyes. Nia Carter was great as always, this time in the 3-hole instead of in the leadoff spot. She finished going 1 for 2 and also walked twice and scored. So she reached in 3 of her 4 plate appearances. And we're going to take a quick little 30-second break, and then we'll be right back to wrap up our post-game coverage. You've been listening to the Iowa Post-Game Show with Learfield.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/IowansWin.
As we continue with our post-game coverage, Coach Gillespie has meandered her way up into the press box. We're about to got some questions for her in what was a 7-4 loss to the Iowa State Cyclones. There we go. We had some difficulties on my end. Coach, that's got to be a rough one, huh?
Yeah, it's always tough at home when we're facing Iowa State, and it's just a good team. I mean, they had a really tough schedule this year, and their record doesn't show it, but they really done a great job. Good hitting, good pitching, just a very solid team. Yeah, that was something we said at the top. We were talking about the how Iowa State does play play a really tough conference schedule. They're out of conference as well, beating Oklahoma State when they were ranked 3rd at the time. And number one question I wanted to ask, as soon as I got into the ballpark today and I saw the lineup change, completely changed lineup, nearly overturned it. What was the thinking coming into today? A lot of it was just stats, seeing how the girls were playing, how they were hitting in certain situations. Brian is our hitting coach. He does a lot of stats evaluations. He looked at that and trying to figure out, where would be our best fit. Leah always is getting the big hits, but she's always in leadoff, and nobody's usually on, so we wanted to try to move her in a position where she'd get more opportunities, which she did. We saw Bradley Klosterman. She'd been leading off for us for the last 2 years, and being able to kind of move her way back into that one spot. She did a nice job today, got a good hit today on that. And then Tati, she's doing a great job in the 2 spots, left her there. But we just kind of worked with what our stats were reading and kind of rearranged it to see. And we did a good job. We were actually scoring more runs with less hits. Before we're given 7, 8 hits with no runs or 1 run. And so our production was a lot better in the lineup that we had. Yeah, that was something I mentioned at the top. We kind of like playing small ball here. We like playing small ball here at the University of Iowa. Yeah. And you said BK had the infield single in the 7th to get things going, kind of start the mini comeback. Nia Carter was great as always. Do you think we're going to see a lineup similar to this? Yeah, I think it worked out really well. I like Nia in the 3 spot. She's just very, have a lot of production in that 3 spot. And like you said, Brawley, BK did a nice job in the 1 spot. So I think the bottom lineup might be doing some moving around, but I think the front, the top half of the lineup looks really strong. The next question I wanted to get to you about was we saw the change behind the plate with Pogue. Everything okay with Doster, or was it just time to give her a break? Yeah, she's been catching every single game. I think it's been 22 straight games for her. Yeah, and she's done a great job back there. We knew that Iowa State liked to run a little bit. Scotland has a great arm. When we got a chance to get her back behind the plate, we felt like we wanted to give her a couple innings to kind of get back into it again. So today was kind of our opportunity to do that. Yeah, I think that was her first game since March 12th against Princeton. Yeah. Were you considering re-entering Doster to hit for? Yeah, we looked into that, but we already had ran for her, so she was done. So we couldn't have brought her back in. But we were looking to see if we had somebody else. But like I said, she just hadn't had a chance to get in that bat, and we wanted to be able to see what she could do. Another thing I wanted to point out was the pitching
Now, this Iowa State offense, some days you're doing good, right?
Yeah.
But you can't give up the free passes, which is what the pitching staff seemed to do today.
Yeah.
Between their 3 girls, 5 walks and 2 hit by pitches. How do we eliminate that?
Yeah, well, it just wasn't their game. They've been on all season long. Just done a great job with our pitching staff, and today they just didn't have their best stuff. You look at it, even the free passes wasn't so much what hurt us. Their leadoff, she did such an incredible job. She had 4 of those RBIs today, and so we got to do a better job of pitching around her a little bit better, because she was just lights out. The 2 home runs she had scored 4 RBIs, and that's the difference in the ball game.
Yeah, Ochoa's 3-run home run to take the lead and the solo shot to extend it. That's all the questions I have. What do we expect to see this last homestand in Big Ten play this weekend?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Rutgers coming in with a very aggressive offensive team. They like to run. That's a little bit why we look at Skyline behind there. She's got a little bit better arm, so we wanted to see if that might be a possibility of getting her some time behind there. So they do like to run, very strong offensively. I think defensively we're going to be solid with them. We'll be able to keep them down. And then I feel like with the offense, the changes that we made with the offense in this game will give us some more runs come up this weekend. So, yeah, come out. It's going to be an incredible weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday with Rutgers. It's supposed to be actually warm compared to last weekend when we were in Minnesota at 24 degrees. And just come out and help us. Friday's going to be our Parents' Day. Saturday's going to be with alumni, and Sunday's our Senior Day. So look forward to having everybody out.
Final home series and Big Ten play of the weekend, Coach. I thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, thank
we'll
you.
take a quick minute break, and then we'll be right back to wrap up our post-game coverage. You've been listening to Iowa Softball on the Hawkeye Radio Network.
Hi, Hawkeye fans. My name is Denali.
And I'm Briley, and we're members of your Iowa Hawkeye softball team.
Our team is striving to be number 1.
And that's why we trust our vehicles to Iowa City Tire and Service, the #1 automotive shop in Iowa City.
Where service actually comes first.
Iowa City Tire and Service, where their customers become friends because they treat you like family. Find them at 410 Kirkwood Avenue or online at ictire.com. Proud sponsors of Hawkeye Softball.
We all love a good win. Catching up with friends, saving money at the pump, soaking up the perfect Iowa day, sitting down to a really, really good meal. These are the everyday delights that make us smile. These are the moments that connect us all as Iowans. And these are the wins that, more often than not, start with Iowa's farm families and the crop they're growing. Because when corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Learn more about how to share your own wins at iowacorn.org/Iowans win.
Back with our post-game coverage, about to wrap up. The Iowa State Cyclones defeated the Iowa Hawkeyes. Final score 7-4. Hawkeyes led 2-0 in the first inning before Iowa State eventually took the lead and never looked back. First time all season the Hawkeyes lost when they're scoring in the first inning. But that's going to do it for our post-game coverage. As a reminder, final score, Iowa State Cyclones 7, Iowa Hawkeyes 4. Iowa State's now won 4 straight against the Hawkeyes in the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series. The Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series is all about celebrating our student athletes as well as our state's corn farmers. Just like the Cyclones and Hawkeyes work hard all year to get ready for the season ahead, so do Iowa's corn farmers, growing a crop used in over 4,000 products. That's a win for all Iowans. Hawkeyes will return, as Coach Gillespie said, this Friday, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, final home Big Ten series, I should say, for the Hawkeyes this season. Final score, Iowa State 7, Hawkeyes 4. Wherever you may be, I thank you very much for listening and tuning in to this edition of Iowa Softball. I'm Lucas Strain. And everybody have a good night, and as always, go Hawks.
Iowa Hawkeye Softball has been brought to you by Homewood and Home 2 Suites, preferred hotel of the Hawkeye Radio Network, Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association, and the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. When corn grows Iowa, Iowans win. Oak Knoll, an active life care community. University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Wimmer's Meats, the official hot dog of the Hawkeyes. And by Iowa City Tire and Service, a proud supporter of Hawkeye Softball. Iowa City Tire, where service actually comes first. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.